Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with Jeff, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. And today, it is just me and Booner.
Squad, man.
Lukas will be joining us very soon. Gentry's in the middle of a very intense, maybe not so intense, Red Wings game. And he'll be joining us probably halfway through the show. He'll give us the Red Wings updates and break it down for us. So he's locked in. So, yeah, he covers the Red Wings for us. So he's got to do what he's got to do. But Boone, it's Monday. It's April 15th. We have a packed show to go through. I got to get through a couple of things before we get to sports here. I want to kind of show the people. But before we start, how are we feeling tonight? We had a pretty good weekend.
We did. It was an interesting weekend. Went and got myself a nice little haircut. No more mullet, but I tried to do something. I told you guys, I tried to do something different. I was like, hey, maybe I just shave the sides here, and I just have a flying V on the back of my neck. I can't show the people. Just it's brutal though. It's brutal. It was a good time though. Sticks. Thank you. You look great as well. Oh, by the way, too, I just want to throw this out there. Wanted to bring this up. I was on FaceTime with Jeff today at my lunch. This man cannot shake any narrative whatsoever. This man, while we're on FaceTime, in his room, little down in the base, just a bee starts flying around, and this man starts running from a bee again.
I don't know how. I don't.
Unbelievable.
It's weird how it follows me, like that narrative. I'm downstairs. I'm working on my computer. I hear like a bzzz. I'm like,
I could hear it on FaceTime.
And I look. I go, boom. There's a bee in my room, and I'm like, I put you down for a second. I gotta lock in. I gotta lock in. And I was gone for how long, Boone? Probably like 5-10 minutes.
5 minutes, dude. And while you were gone, I saw the bee. My phone. Your phone is sitting like this. I saw the bee fly over the phone screen 4 times, dude. It just kept going back and forth, and I hear you like going after. It was unbelievable.
It was me or him. That's how I looked at it. It was me or him.
Did he win?
One had to go, and it wasn't me. So you know what? I scouted the area, waited for him to leave. He went out. He was on a little windowsill, waited for the right time. Wazam! Got his ass and got him out of the house. But yeah, you know what? It was about 10-15 minute battle for sure.
Battle through adversity. You got the job done. I appreciate it. Like that's an unbelievable.
You know what that was? That was fourth quarter. You're tired. Game's on
JJ
the line.
McCarthy, game on the line.
Stop. We're not doing that. We're not acting like this was a
That's what it was. That's what it was.
10-15 minutes.
I will say, the time ran out, if we're being honest. I just kept going, Jeff, bro, are you getting this beat? He had me on hold. It was like I was on hold on FaceTime for 5 minutes because he couldn't kill the beat. I probably could have killed the beat quicker than him. It kept flying over the phone.
Well, it was in the area. I had to leave my gear, my phone. I left it. You know what? I had.
What are you, surviving out in the wild? Your gear.
Come
on. One of us are making it out here alive.
Hey, I covered my face. I had like mud on. I was in the bushes. I was waiting for his ass. I think everything.
Ghillie suit.
Yep, ghillie suit. Waited for him. Looked weak. Capitalized when he looked weak. Like it's all it's Mother Nature.
Yeah, you had to catch your dinner tonight. That's what it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kill or be killed out here. So you know what? I had to execute. It was a bee, but I don't give a shit.
By the way,
he's in my house. What's going on?
Can we bring up Saturday as well? Stick spot, great spot.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You know what? Yeah, fellas, we were all down there at Crunch Time crew watching the Red Wings game. I've never seen Gentry go from all-time low to all-time high. It was very quick. It was very quick with it. Yeah, and it was awesome to see. We got to experience that together. We checked out his new place, Hayes Social. It's on Hayes, 21 in Hayes. Go come through. Wow. Weekend. You want to watch some sports, hang out with some people. It's just like it's the new spot, and it's going to be like, especially in that area. It's like it's going to be the spot, and we checked it out. It was a lot of fun. Stick had his whole thing planned. People ordering bottles. It was packed. So if you're looking for a place to go on the weekends, it's Hayes Social. So shout out to Stick for welcoming us out there. It was a lot of fun.
Great time, great place. I didn't realize too it was on Hayes. That just makes total sense that it's on Hayes.
It is on Hayes.
Hayes and what?
Hayes Social.
Hayes and what?
Now
20 what?
21 in Hayes.
21 in Hayes. All right.
Yep, that's where it's at. So shout out to Stick for that. Also, I wanted to bring up too something that was very important, and this was it's been talked about a lot by Brad Holmes' Bulge, the leader of the Bulge Army.
Legend.
And I told him I'd support it as much as I possibly can because it is a charitable cause and it's something really, really cool. that people can do. It's a terrible story, but still, for what they're doing with the story and giving back, like, it's just, if you're not, if you have Twitter, or if you have a couple extra dollars laying around, please donate it. It's for a great cause. It's for Lukas, and Lukas is a child, not even a child, a baby, a preemie that is going through a lot right now. And Brad Holmes Bulge has been kind of pumping up Lions Twitter to be able to donate and contribute, because it all goes towards a cause. I think Brad Holmes Bulge has actually committed $1 per every retweet, up to $1,000. So there'll be a link I'm going to put in the chat, and you guys can check it out. Every donation, there's raffles, so you're entered to win things. The more, obviously, you donate, like Aiden Hutchinson autograph full-size helmet. There's a Nike player jersey, custom jacket, any NFL team. Like, there's a ton of stuff. Barry Sanders autograph full-size Heisman trophy. But it's all for a great cause, and you get to check out Lukas's story right here.
Even if you can't like donate, just retweet, go kind of push it out. So anyone else, like, obviously Brad Holmes's Bulge is matching up to $1 for every retweet. I believe it is correct. It says
yes.
So it's just a retweet. That's just like a free $1, basically, all the way up to 1,000 retweets. So if you can't donate, just go throw a retweet, and push that thing out there, so it gets out in the algorithm and more people can see it to support that. He did go on.
No, go on. You're good.
I was gonna say he went on the heavyweights and kind of shared the story a little bit and about what everything is kind of on the tweet, and it's pretty, like, it's a good cause what it's going for, and so if you guys can support, that'd be huge.
Yeah, and you think about it, guys. We got a platform here, so I want to make sure we try to use it in the best possible way. So shout out, the Bulge Army has done stuff for Crunch. They've helped us out. They've supported the fellas. So Brad Holmes Bulge, we got you. Please, it's in the description, or excuse me, it's in the chat. So check out that link as well. Also, I just got off the phone with Scotty today. We're about under a week, or over a week, excuse me, out from the NFL draft. And if you're looking to go downtown, come hang with the fellas. You can purchase your ticket. It's in the description of every single piece of content we do. Get your tickets to the draft party before you can't anymore. And for people that are new to going to the draft, it's going to be impossible to be down there, almost. Like, you just can't. Like, the streets are going to be flooded. Parking's going to be unreal. So if you want to place a guaranteed spot, a home, you buy that ticket. Like I said, former professional athletes, former Red Wings players, former Lions players. You get free drinks all night. You get to hang out with the fellas, react to the draft. It's going to be a lot of fun. There'll be giveaways. You get stuff that's included in your ticket. It's well worth the money. So please check it out. We got some special guests that are going to be arriving. I can't speak too much on it, but trust me, a lot of you guys are going to know who these people are. So if you don't have a place to go and you're looking, hey, I'm just going to wing it, good luck. You're not going to be able to. So get your ticket. It's in the description. But boys, now that we got all that out of the way, I just noticed too, the WNBA draft's going on. Caitlin Clark just went to the Indiana Fever. So I didn't
overall.
Know. That's not me taking I just didn't know. I didn't know it was today. I didn't.
Kind of
advertising on it, not great.
Dude, they do it like 2 weeks after the season's over. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is really.
Do they do workouts? Like, how do these teams evaluate and go? Like, do you have pre-draft workouts? Obviously not. Like, how does this work? It's unbelievable.
I mean, you just look and watch Caitlin Clark, and that's probably the easiest number one pick in the last, Victor would be another easy one, but Caitlin Clark's just like.
I mean, no, there were people. There was they did like a, you know how like what is it? The Manning brothers do a Manning cast. They did like a cast like that during the women's tournament, and I think it was like all of the legendary UConn players. I don't know all of them, but the question went around the room: would you rather have Caitlin Clark or the Paige Buchers girl or whatever? And like all of them were UConn girls, and they're like, oh, we'd rather have Paige. We'd rather have Paige. Like. Unbelievable, unbiased. Like, you're on ESPN or whatever you're on, and you can't be honest to the people. Like, Caitlin Clark's better than this Paige.
Well,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing. So
I won't get into this. I know everyone wants to hear my opinion on the WNBA and Caitlin Clark, but so I'll take a step back on that.
And I do want to, you know what? We're gonna address this because I don't care at all. It hips. The back and forth, I'm addressing this now because Lukas already addressed it. So he spoke on it. You can check out his Twitter. Link is in our channel. You can check out all our Twitters. But we, as a crew, what we're focused on, number one, Number one by far is making great content. That's what we care about. We want to make the best content. We want to cover the teams that you guys love so much and provide analysis, provide opinions. There's nothing else. We have friends, great friends that we stay in touch with. A lot of things that people that like to comment on Twitter don't really know about, especially our relationship with a lot of these people, are amazing. Like I was texting Kool-Aid today. I mean, I talk to Adam every single day. So we're cool with everybody. Anybody else that tries to spin that narrative is just uninformed. So I just want to make that very clear. The fellas, we're peace. That's all we care about. We're focused on crunch time, building this. All our effort, basically 7 days a week, goes into doing something involving crunch time. Yeah. So our hands are already as full as it is already. So I want to make that very clear. We're not in any beef. We have no interest in being in any beef. We're past that. That's high school shit. And we're here to make some content and be great. But yeah, go ahead, Booner. I just want to.
I just want to. I kind of want to just second all of that. It's just like, and if anyone knows me and you, Jeff and Luke, like at least me, like I'm like the nicest person in the world. The Booner, like I'm all about just being friends with everyone. So I support everyone, and we've made that very clear. Like, yes, when we left the last place, it might have been like we left quick and it was abrupt, and we didn't like the way we had to leave and everything that happened. But like the people there still love everyone, and I think like you guys will see me in some of those other chats because I'm still watching and supporting some of those guys. The heavies come in our chat all the time and support us, and like it's a vice versa thing. And we would love, to be able to talk ball with them, but it's like that's just not it right now. But like yesterday when that happened, I was shocked. Like there's nothing bad between us, and that was a little shocking. So I don't know.
Yeah, real quick too. I just want to make sure we get some of these narratives correct. Just moving forward, because again, we can't control. And you said this, Booner. We can't control what other people put out. We don't engage in any beef. It's not in our best interest at this point to be engaging. Now, if you want to bring this up, and this isn't this specific comment, but I've seen this before. Like, did you go on Spiro's show? I went on Spiro's show for one reason. Well, really two reasons. One, to share my story because I was basically silenced. So I wanted a platform to go speak about what happened specifically with the man who runs the company. That was my issue. It had nothing to do. And I know I could speak kind of for you guys as well. We never had any problem with the people inside. To be honest with you, after I did that interview, which Spiro allowed me to come on and share my story, talk about kind of the shit that happened. It was a platform for me to kind of explain everything. I never got a chance to because, again, I was pulled from the show. Everybody reached out. Most people reached out to me and said,
a lot of people from Woodward said thank you.
Like,
and as well
thank you for going out. Like, it must have felt good. Like, we appreciate you for sharing your story. We obviously can't do that. And I don't mean to throw people on the bus, but that's just, I'm not naming who it is, but that is not a reason. That is a one-time thing. I did that after I was done with it. I was done with it. And you guys notice I'm not going over here ragging on we're done. So I just did that to share my story. And two,
last thing,
Jeff, up for the people that can't really stick up for themselves. And I have proof. I have text from people. So it's not me just saying that. I have proof via my phone that people reached out. So it's over. We're moving past it. And I didn't mean to cut you off, Booner. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
I just want this comment too, and this is the last thing I think we should even say about it, but why not stand up for Kool-Aid? And again, this is something with this whole situation. This is why we got thrown into it was, hey, why aren't you standing up for Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid knows, and I speak for all of us here, where we stand with him, and I understand to where maybe, we have a relationship with someone, but like the Spiro stuff and all that, like we don't have that relationship to say, hey, let's tell another, grown man, stop tweeting at people, stop doing this. Like, that's not our business to do that. Like, at least in my opinion, it's just head down, grind, and move forward. And that's just, it's just not our responsibility to do that. Like, we get hate all the time. We get people coming at us because we left Woodward, and no one sits there and says, hey, don't go at those boys like that. Like, we got a tweet this morning that was pretty bad, and not one person from Woodward stepped up and said, hey, don't say that to them. So this is part of our business. We love those guys, and Kool-Aid, I don't know. I just feel like it's just not something to where we need to kind of put our nose into. That's something for them to kind of figure out. That's why we left the place, so we don't have to deal with that stuff. And that's kind of, we got brought back. It's just wild.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas, me and you were on the show when Adam left. And that we had to deal with. Wait, I love Adam, and I knew the stuff that people were saying. It was never to us personally. It was just hate because Adam was done dirty. We suited up,
head down and go, bro.
We walked through the mud and got through it. I mean, Spiro, whoever it is, going at Woodward for what happened with Adam, like we understood. Like we understood why it was happening, but we just worked. What happened, Lukas? We had a lot of great times, and we made some great things. So that's what we did. We didn't engage in anything. We didn't do anything. And I text those guys every day, so we're all cool. But
why didn't any of you guys, when all those people were coming at me in the comments during my Kool-Aid video, why weren't you guys sticking up for me? Hey,
which one, Boone?
You were. They were coming
talking about how ugly I am.
Well, hey, I mean,
talking about my teeth.
What do you want me to stick up for your looks? I think that look a little.
I don't know, dude.
I'm
just wondering, man. I'm just wondering. I needed some backup. No, I'm just kidding.
So I remember people. I mean, dude, people were
happy. That's the
crapping on
us
when Adam left. It is what this is the business, man. You're in a media business. People are going to talk shit. Me and the boys. We really just the only reason we're on social media is to just promote ourselves and get our stuff out there. But we're not over here. But anyway, just wanted to address that. I have a platform to speak on it, so I thought, why not? But let's move on. I wanted to speak about extensions today. You saw the thumbnail, Jared Goff. We saw some reported numbers I'm going to bring up. Devonta Smith got paid. No. Got 25 per roughly.
Got a lot of money too.
3 for 75. That's what he got. 3 for 75. And I think he has a 5th-year option. So he's got 4 years left on his deal. He's tied up until like 2028 or something like that. But we're going to relate this conversation back to Amon-Ra St. Brown. But they got the deal done. Again, 3-year, $75 million deal to tie Devonta Smith in Philly till 2028. Philly ain't playing around. They're extending a lot of people. And I brought this up because I saw Lions Twitter going crazy. What does this mean for St. Brown? How much is he going to make? I don't know, fellas. Jared Goff has not been extended yet. He expects one. If you saw the podcast, I mean, he pretty much said, I'll probably be in Detroit for a while. But Amon-Ra St. Brown's extension has not been done. I believe his agent met with the Lions at the Combine, talked about it. Not sure if the number, they weren't clear on a number. Maybe they didn't agree. But I'll ask you fellas, and then I'll kind of give my thoughts on it. What does this mean? 3 years, $75 million. How does it affect St. Brown's payday? What does it mean? Does St. Brown look at it and think, yeah, I'm getting more than that, dude? I'll tell you that. How does this affect the Lions moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing too with it, and I don't know if you guys kind of did some research on this and looked into this, but there's going to be more extensions done this offseason. Like CeeDee Lamb's going to get extended. Justin Jefferson's going to get extended. In the way the Eagles went about it is they said, hey, let's be like one of the first ones to extend our receiver because the market's about to go from here to here very, very quick. Like the market right now, I believe is like Tyreek Hill has the most at 30 million a year, I believe is the average.
Yeah.
In the next 2 months or right before the season starts, Justin Jefferson's going to get way more than 30 a year. I'm sure CeeDee Lamb's going to get more than that with the cap going up, everything moving up. This wide receiver market's about to move. I was a little worried when I saw it, and I'm like, okay, it's 25 for Devonta Smith. St. Brown's going to get more. He's a better wide receiver than him. He's put numbers up. He's all pro. He's the number one on a team. I think he's going to end up getting 30. I don't know where you guys end up standing on that. I think it's like, hey, if they just get a deal done tomorrow and it's 4 years, 120 million, let's get that done and move on. That's where I'm at with it. It's just, this is one of the best guys in the league and you have him on your team. Pay the man whatever he wants and let's move on from it. But at the same time, I think if doing a little investigating, I think there's a deal that's almost done. If I just like had to look into it because there's the voluntary workouts that are going on now in Detroit. You haven't heard Amon-Ra St. Brown being out of them. I don't know if he's been there today, but you haven't heard of him sitting out and being like, I'm not coming. But you know what you have heard? Justin Jefferson saying, I'm going to sit out until I get paid. CeeDee Lamb saying, I'm probably not going to come to these voluntary workouts until I get paid. So these guys are like going out there purposely saying, hey, I'm going to do this until I get paid. You're not having that issue with Amon-Ra St. Brown right now, at least from what I've heard and from what I've seen on Twitter. He's not sitting out here going, I'm going to sit out until I get paid. It feels like there's a deal that's probably close to being done if that hasn't came out yet, or it's either just Amon-Ra is just that good of a dude that he's just, I'm going to still play. I trust you guys to get a deal done. So either way, St. Brown will be extended by the time the season comes around. It might be after the draft because they're just so focused on the draft right now, but I'm sure a deal is going to get done. I just think just give him 30 a year and move on. Guys are getting 27, 28. I think Mike Evans just got 27 or 28. Like guys are getting money now. Yeah. Give him his money and let's move on.
Yeah, I hope they do it. If Jefferson re-signs with the Vikings this year, I don't even know if he will re-sign with them, but CeeDee Lamb, I would imagine they have to re-sign him. I hope they get the deal done before those two can reset the market. But if they pay him $30 million, he deserves it. Booner, I think you put everything perfectly. I don't need to expand on it more. I just think get the deal done. He's not going to hold out or anything like that, and that's the bonus of having a roster built the way the Detroit Lions did. Regardless of what's going on off the field, the players in that locker room are going to produce on the field, so it'll get done. Just a matter of time.
Yeah, you would expect it to. Like, he is, to me, a must re-sign, and I think that's an obvious answer. I said before that I'd be comfortable closer if you're just flirting with that close to 30. A 30 would be aggressive, but I would give him 26 to 27. I'd be cool with that. Even if you want to go 28, it's one of those things that's like you're just picking. Like if St. Brown was like, give me an extra $1 million and I'll sign right now. It's like, all right, just
do it.
Just sign them. You know what I mean? You're not going to argue with that guy. Like, it just you can't.
No reason to.
Because Devontae got 25, so if you think about it,
the wide receiver too.
But how long ago was that? 2 years ago? That was 2 seasons,
No.
2 off seasons ago.
You talking about Devontae?
Oh, Devontae Smith. I thought you were talking about Devontae Adams. I was like, Devontae Adams just got paid years ago.
He just got 25.
Yeah, 25 a year today. I just think, dude, if Justin Jefferson resigns, say an example, say he resigns tomorrow, the max right now is $30 million. What do you think Justin Jefferson gets? $35 million? Like, he pushes the market up.
33 to 35.
Let's say Justin Jefferson gets 35, CeeDee Lamb gets 34, 33. St. Brown's going to take his agent's going to walk in the room and be like, hey, look at these numbers. Like, you just gave Justin Jefferson just got 35. CeeDee Lamb just got 33, 34. And my client just put the same numbers as CeeDee Lamb up, essentially. And he was first team All-Pro with CeeDee Lamb. So 27 is way off. We're in different atmospheres right now when we're talking numbers for when it comes to that. That's why I think it's like, let's get this deal done today. If he wants 30, let's do it before Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb sign for 35 tomorrow. You see what I'm saying? I mean,
Brad tells us to kick rocks.
That would be nuts.
Yeah.
That would be nuts.
All right, deal's done. We're not re-signing.
Yeah,
moving on.
Just draft another. No, actually, I hope he doesn't say that.
No,
I mean, what did Tyreek's getting? What, 30 per year?
Yeah, and that
30.
He signed that 2 years
right
ago. So it'd be like
Justin Jefferson's going to want 31, 32.
He's
more than that, dude. He's going to go.
You think
dude,
so?
you have to think the cap just went up this year, and it's going to go up next.
And
that market, he's moving the market up.
And he's in a situation in Minnesota where it might not seem like it completely outside, but I guarantee he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door there, because I don't think he sees a way of him being at his ceiling when they're about to draft a rookie quarterback. You know what I mean? He's a guy who's the #1 wide receiver in the league. He wants an upper echelon quarterback. I guarantee it. He wants to go win a Super Bowl. He doesn't want to sit behind Sam Darnold for half the season, JJ McCarthy, and then sit behind JJ McCarthy developing, or Michael Penix, whoever it may be. So I think there's a possible chance that he just holds out. I'm not saying that it's a guaranteed, but I could definitely see Justin Jefferson being like, hey, Tyreek Hill, trade me type of deal.
I think St. Brown will get, if I had to put an exact number on it, give him like 27, if that's fine. Give him 26. I just asked, that's why I said Justin Jefferson 31, 32, because it feels like, at least from what I've seen with contracts, that players, like you see quarterbacks, some guy will get this number and another guy will get like 100,000 more guaranteed. It's like just to say they set the market.
Yeah.
I wonder if Justin Jefferson's thinking that too. Like, I'll just get like $1 million more just to say I'm the top paid receiver. Or he'll just say, fuck it, I'm in Minnesota, give me 35.
That does seem more realistic, what you were saying, Jeff, the 31. It does seem a little more realistic.
Like, just give me $1 million just to say I'm that guy. I'm the highest paid. That's where what?
He's just he's going to be looking at that rookie quarterback contract, looking at Jordan Addison on that rookie wide receiver contract, and he's like, without me, what the hell are you? Like, Minnesota needs Justin Jefferson, so I think he's going to use that leverage and be like, bring me my money. I'm the one filling the seats. Even when I'm on IR, people are watching me on the sideline. Like,
yeah, that is true. The cameras were on him.
Well, not until JJ steps in. I mean, JJ year 2.
That is true. That is true.
Year 2.
I like how you're coming around on him. I like how you're coming around on him a little bit. I like.
Well, hey, he'll have JJ, so he doesn't. Hey, you have a quarterback that can give you a chance to win. So hey, you don't have to.
I do. I would love if I got an alert tomorrow that said Amon-Ra St. Brown is signing an extension and it's $27 a year for 4 years. I would be so happy. That's to me, like I know $3 million a year isn't like a big difference. That's just a steal though, because in the next 3 or 4 years that market's about to move. Things are going to be moving, and like 20, if you get him at 27 a year this year, after they got Devontae Smith at 25, he's way better than Devontae Smith in my eyes. Like he $2 million better than Devontae Smith? He's way more better. Like he's way better than that. So like if you get him for that, that's a steal. That's a steal in my opinion. That's why I don't think 30 is that crazy. Like, I don't think 30 is like an insane number. He's literally a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL.
I mean, and I know it's crazy. I've struggled with this in the past when the cap keeps going up and guys are getting paid more and more. We get stuck in this like, oh no, like quarterbacks, like I'll pay him 40. It's like, oh, I'll pay him 35. Like this ain't Matt Ryan, dude. Matt Ryan was the first, like what, 30 per year quarterback, whatever it was. Yeah. Like we're getting to a point where like the cap's going to keep going up. Receive every position, their price is going up. Like there's going to be a quarterback that one day will make close to $100 million.
Real quick, does that ever cap? That has to cap off. There's no way there's a player making $100 million in 1 year. People say that all the time, and I'm like,
Swift into the stands and making money. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Like there has to be a cap to that, right? Like there has to be like we can't get you up to $100 million a year. The cap.
I mean, it'll be in like a decade and a half if everything keeps going the way it is. But think Dak's about to sign for 60. How long ago did Matt Ryan resign? It's damn near double that in probably 5-6 years.
I know, but like there's just like at some point you're gonna get like to a point where it's like,
think about
in 50 years the NFL is paying people $1 billion a year. That's what we're on track for.
Think about like when CJ Stroud resigns his contract. I bet CJ Stroud resigns for around $70 million a year when CJ Stroud's contract hits.
Dude, I just think there's gonna be a point in the NFL where it's like, fellas, we can't just keep going up every year. Like,
look at the MLB. Those bitches, they don't even have a salary cap, bro.
Yeah, well. That's the thing. It's
but
like,
I'm saying,
if we're gonna get to that point, you might as well just take the salary cap out and say, free game. Go ahead.
I wish.
But like the trajectory of the NFL, it's great. Like 50 years from now, we're gonna be like 80 doing crunch time, like I don't know, like Matt Stafford Jr. is signing a $700 million year per deal. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, that's so much money. What do you do with that much money?
80, Lukas Klotz he'll be pretty much Skip Bayless. Like that's his mannerisms. I can see Lucas at 70 being like, it's my turn.
I let you talk and let you speak.
Yeah. Not the takes. No, he's not defending Dak.
Hey, Skip's kind of coming around. He's becoming like more of a Cowboy hater. He's a Cowboy
Skip Bayless?
Mm-hmm.
The only reason he's coming around is because his show is so bad. The ratings are so down. He has to at some point he's like, I have to come around.
Skip's like such a pioneer of like sports talk.
He is for sure. Yeah.
If you go back and you look at Skip, like Skip Bayless saved Stephen A's career multiple times. Stephen A's like the guy.
Yeah, that's fair. Well,
it's
speaking
crazy
of
to see how many people want to be with Skip Bayless and still do shows with him.
Well,
you're always right.
When Shannon left, I never watched a single show. I watch Shannon Sharp now only, because like I I talked a lot about. You never name the show; you just name the personalities. That's how it always is. I never watched Undisputed. I watched Shannon Sharp. That's how that goes.
Was that a shot at someone?
No, I don't know.
A shot at that? I think that was a shot at someone.
No, we don't need any of these potential narratives getting out.
No shot. I'm just saying that's what I do. I watch.
Even if there is no narratives out, there's narratives out. You know what I mean? Like,
you see what I'm saying? That's the world we live in.
We didn't
no narrative. There's narrative.
We didn't say anything publicly for 2 months, and we got dragged publicly.
All right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Get into it.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
we can all.
Sorry.
Hey,
I'm not mad.
It's not. Hey, Skip can be great. Shannon can be great. Everyone can be great.
Stephen A. can be great.
They can all be great. You know, and that's why, fellas, Jared Goff has been pretty great. You know, I just got to say, you know,
transition.
He just has. I mean, Jared Goff can be great. Any other quarterback can be great. Everyone can be great together. Mm-hmm. And, Jared Goff's contract extension is something that is a fun conversation to have. We've had it before a lot, but there is a different side to it. I mean, Jared spoke on, he had an interesting quote, and I believe this was in the same interview. He talked about the media, but again, no one really covered it because,
Well, no. People covered it. They just covered it the wrong way. And some reason 2 weeks later, the good stuff's coming out.
Yeah,
it's
kind of
literally
made
what I was
point.
arguing last week. What I was saying last week is happening now.
Hey, well, it's how it goes.
You guys see what I'm saying now? Do you guys understand that?
Yeah, I mean, they focus on negativity. That's typically what happens anyway.
He was right. Jared Goff was right. He was spot on.
Yeah, he kind of was, to be honest with you. But Jared Goff, he spoke. The quote was, getting traded to Detroit, the Lions, was, quote, the greatest thing to ever happen to him, end quote. And he said that. And also, I saw a report that, and these reports just kind of float around. It was per Jay Fowler of ESPN, Jeremy Fowler, who is a pretty reputable guy.
Yeah.
Excuse me. He says Jared Goff is expected to receive a contract extension worth $45 to $50 million annually. Goff is entering the final year of his contract, and the Lions intend to reward him. So you got Jared Goff coming off back-to-back really good seasons and contract extensions on the table. Don't know really when that number is going to be announced or when he signs, but it's going to be probably 45 to 50. I think he's spot on there. It just is. Yep. And fellas, I've been seeing a lot, and it's not just Jared, but it's fans. And I do think it's fair in a way because I understand it's kind of in line with my thinking at times. You have to be aware of the salary cap. I understand that. But people are like, man, Jared, people aren't thinking about Jared or Amon-Ra St. Brown taking a pay cut or a significant pay cut. Like, guys, the NFL doesn't give these streaming services, these TV, these companies, media outlets, any of these people, never gives them a cut. So why on earth, why the hell would players give teams a cut? Like, so you want these teams to continue in the NFL to continuously make money, make more money, but now you're asking players to just, I don't know, not take more money. Like, we got to think from a human element here. Like, we got to think from the player's perspective. I know we're media, but it's important to think about it from the player's perspective. If I'm Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's in a different position than Jared Goff is. If I'm Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm getting the most. Every penny counts if I'm Amon-Ra St. Brown. Every penny. Down to the penny. Not dollars. We're talking pennies. I don't care what it is. It matters. Jared Goff has made a lot of money. Maybe you could talk him into it. Doubt it, though. I don't know. Maybe 45 is kind of a discount.
45 seems like a big pay cut. That seems like drastic.
He ain't taking a discount. 45 to 50. What are we thinking? What do we think?
I think it's the same thing as Amon-Ra, and this is where I stand, and I'm a little different than some people. I want to go win Super Bowls, and I want to keep winning. And Jared Goff is he's proven that in this last year. I don't think 50 is like a crazy thing. I think it's the same thing with Saints. Like, this market just keeps moving. If you sign him to 50 a year for the next couple of years, that market's going to keep moving, and he's not going to be even a top 10 paid quarterback probably in the league in the next 2 years. So I don't think it's a crazy thing. The negativity when it comes to the contract of, hey, we have Hendon Hooker and Jeff, and I know you don't hate Jared Goff, but you have that mindset a little bit of, I would love if there's an opportunity to get a guy on a cheaper deal, a rookie deal, we can move with that. But again, we talk about how we have that guy in our building. Again, Jeff, what's the thing that you tell me all the time when it comes to when we're talking quarterbacks in the draft? What's the percentage of those guys hitting?
Not high.
So not high at all. And a guy that's coming off an ACL, coming off, he hasn't played football by the time he would probably start in 2 or 3 years. A guy that's already 2 years younger than only 2 years younger than Jared Goff. There's like, all right, you have a guy that's proven in the NFL that can win. And as he said, he came out and said, the best thing to happen to me in my career is getting traded to the Detroit Lions. And he had a whole revitalized of his career, and everything started to change, and he was able to fail in Detroit and learn from that. He's learned now how to win in the NFL and how to be a leader and how to this is, to me, and Klotz, you played football too. To me, when you're on a team in the basketball teams and different in college that I've been a part of, some of these things that you go through, it's like you have vets and you have guys that have been there and done that. You want those guys in your locker room because you want to win with them. That's just like a matter of what the situation is. That's what Jared Goff is to me. I think you need to just sign the deal, keep him here for the next 2 or 3 years. Say, let's move on. We want you in our building. You are a leader. If you guys didn't watch this episode as well, he literally talked about how he's not just like a leader of just the offense. He says he knows every single guy on the team. He's very close with every guy on the team. He hangs out with every single guy on the defense, the offense. Like he is like just absolutely put himself as the leader of this team. You can't just walk away from that. Like as an organization, if you just say, hey, Jared Goff, sorry, we'll keep you on this 1-year deal and then we're going to move to Hendon Hooker, the building falls apart from the inside out. That's like you just built something for 2 years and then you're with Jared Goff as your core leader. Like core leader, I don't think you like people realize how big of a deal that is. Like that is your guy. He knows every player in and out on that football team. And then you're like, hey, buddy, sorry, we have a rookie that's a little better than you. Might not know how to win. He might not know how to do it, but we're going to have to make that decision to move on. I just don't see you making that. I don't see that happening. Sign the deal, get them done. 2 or 3 years, $50 million a year, not fully guaranteed. Make some incentives in there. Maybe make it a little front end deal. So when you have to start paying other guys, you have a smaller back end, couple of bonuses, figure it out.
Let's work it out.
Jeff Iafrate, don't
Klotz.
sit there and look me in the eyes and say, we have Hendon Hooker. No, you have Jared Goff, who just took you to the NFC Championship.
We have Hendon
Hooker. Leader. All right.
Hey, Klotz, maybe throw in a penthouse in Birmingham. Maybe throw that in the deal. Maybe throw that in the deal.
Maybe we could
sweeten it up a little bit, Klotzy.
Hey,
does he need something from me? I will be willing to give something up.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I don't know. Me and him have a good relationship. We can figure it out. I'll talk to Jared.
Okay.
For a couple things out there. No, but fellas, if you can get Jared Goff for 45 to 50, then you look up, you look a little down south, close to the border, you see Dak Prescott won $60 million. You sign that deal with Jared, you walk out and you go, because you can just relax. Klotz. Because at the end of the day, we just talked about it with wide receivers and Amon-Ra St. Brown. You look back in 2-3 years and you see Jared Goff, 48, 49, $50 million. You look at Dak Prescott, $60 million, Joe Burrow, and all these quarterbacks that are about to re-sign. You're gonna look back and you're like, damn. Again, you have quarterback where Jared Goff is not going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league, but he could give you top 5 numbers, and he's going to keep the chemistry there. Because what Booner said is very true. Jared Goff is the face of Detroit as far as sports go. Because I think right now the Lions are by far the biggest sports scene right now in Detroit. Now the Red Wings are going places, but you even see
there's no comparison in Detroit right now.
There's not one. And Jared Goff being the quarterback, he's the face of the city. So to not re-sign him, to Booner's point, even though me and Jeff kind of align with, we want to see what Hendon has because we talk about intangibles, how much he has, and you look at this situation, great situation. So the risk of Hendon not hitting goes down a little bit. You could see Hendon working out. But that's after Jared Goff's time. Right now is Jared Goff's time. He's the face of the city, and you get that deal done. Even if it's for $50 million, I know it might kind of be like, but then just remember that Dak Prescott's getting 60, and you don't have that situation going on.
That thing just keeps moving up. Just like the conversation we have about Amon-Ra St. Brown. That money goes up. And eventually you sign Jared Goff now, it's going to look fine in a year or two, and you're going to still be winning football games. Jeff, do you like winning football games? Do you enjoy it?
I do.
Okay. Would you like that to end anytime soon?
I would not.
Okay. So I think a good thing to do is to keep your quarterback here. You're a leader of your football, the leader of your organization, and move on. Imagine. I'm not even going to throw that scenario out there. Never mind. I'm moving on from
what? That. No, you can't do
nothing.
That.
I just think like Dan Campbell to me, and you guys know how I feel about Dan Campbell. That is my white whale, the guy that I love. I'll have a beer with it. Like that is the guy I love. He made a culture there in Detroit or here in Detroit that has built up what has happened. Jared Goff has came in and has built that with him, as well as leadership within that organization with the players and teammates and everyone in that building. And just to say, hey, sorry, dude, you just took us to NFC Championship game. You put up top 5 numbers. You did this, you did that. Guess what? We have a guy that could. He could be really good. I don't know if he can win football games yet. He's like the same age as Jared Goff, but he could be really. Maybe I'm just a little too comfortable.
I mean, I
need to learn a little bit. Maybe I need to learn a little bit.
We could all be millionaires. You know, I could be 6'5". You know,
could
so
be
not
choosing rich.
could be choosing rich. So you know what? Nothing's guaranteed. I understand that completely. Where I'm coming from with the Hendon Hooker stuff, really, and I think Lukas aligns with this, is I just want to see it. I just want to see it. And we haven't gotten to the last time I watched Hendon. It's not me forcing Goff, but it's my curiosity. I'm curious. Last time we saw Hendon play, he should have won the Heisman and was the best quarterback, depending on who you ask, in college football. So I just want to see. That's all it is. I think if you're open-minded and you're like, let's just see what Hendon Hooker has, I think that's fair. All right, but Jared Goff, should he not be extended? No, you want to keep him around. I get it. There's no reason. He's a damn good quarterback, better than Dak Prescott.
I want to throw out a comment real quick. Randy, hold on, let me click on that. Randy here. Shout out Randy for tuning in. Appreciate you. Said my question today is, if Hooker was healthy in this draft, where would he be drafted and ahead of who? That's a great question.
I think he would be probably top 5. You talking about like Michael Penix? If Michael Penix had all these injury concerns, Michael Penix would be a top 10 pick, no doubt.
You could say maybe ahead of Michael Penix, but if he was healthy last year, would he have been? I
mean, let's think. Jaden Daniels, top 5. Drake May wasn't even sniffing Heisman this year. I mean, he had Heisman hopes, but he wasn't sniffing it. Hendon Hooker would have won the Heisman. And Hendon Hooker, I mean, he was doing it in the SEC.
Real quick, hold on. I'm sorry.
What? You started a statement there and you just went away.
No, I was just curious because it's I get it's different. I could also make an argument. But Jaden Daniels, he's 23 though. Hendon is 25. So he's 2 years older. But Jaden's technically, you look at quarterbacks, like age to me isn't as important because of the position and how long you can play it. It's really about your play. And you have a Heisman winner in Jaden Daniels, but he's unquestioned the number 2 pick. So I don't know. I don't even want to get into it. I don't want to make this like a Hendon Hooker discussion, but I will say you got to at least see what you got. That's all. You just got to see what you got.
I'll give you that.
Wow. And that's all it is. Like Goff, like we all agree, Goff playoff, you take a team to the playoffs, you have a good roster. He can make a playoff run, make a Super Bowl. He has that ability. And I do believe, to kind of go back to what he said, now that we kind of got through this, when he said getting traded to Detroit was the best thing to ever happen to me, and Jared Goff's already faced adversity. I mean, he first got to LA, or at the time, I believe was that St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis.
Because it wasn't LA yet, but Jeff Fisher, his head coach, I think he was winless.
Guru.
Michigan Panthers, former Michigan Panthers head coach.
Yeah, former Michigan Panthers great, Jeff Fisher. You guys, I think that was was that the Hard Knocks season he got fired, or was that before?
No, Hard Knocks. Do you remember the video? Him going into his staff? Klotz showed us the guy that we saw in the Dallas special teams coordinator. His reaction.
Jeff Fisher on Hard Knocks,
the greatest videos of all time.
Yeah, that clip. But he faced a lot of adversity, but he rebounded, and he's gotten better, just like guys can do. He's improved. He's not the same quarterback that lost in the Super Bowl to Tom Brady. He's gotten way better. So that's just what it is. I do want to welcome on. It's 8:44. I do want to bring in our guest, Scott Bischoff, who you guys know who Scott is. Go to Scott. He takes care of us for all things NFL draft, all things Detroit Lions. Of course, he does great work at Detroit Lions and NFL draft analyst at DetroitLionsPodcast.com. And he's a staff writer at FootballGuys.com. Please welcome the one, the only, Mr. Scott Bischoff. Scott, how you doing?
I'm good, guys. How are you? How are you all?
We're doing good, Scott. We're fired up, Scott. We're happy to have you. The draft a little over a week out. This is the time where the mock draft, Scott, they just don't hit the same, Scott. And now we've done so many of them where it's like, all right, let's just get to the dang thing. We're at about a little over a week. But how's it been for you in just kind of where the Lions are as a team, talking about their draft pick? I know a lot of people we're talking trading up, trading back. Where are you at with just what they should do? Because I'm going to, after you answer that, did you see Mel Kiper and Field Yates' draft, their mock draft? I don't know if you checked it out. I wanted to surprise you, but I wasn't sure.
No.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Before we get to that, where are you at with what the Lions, what's the feeling for you, Scott? What's the move at 29 before I kind of get into Mel Kiper stuff and you can kind of react to it?
I get the trade up stuff. There's a few players I think that would be really interesting to trade up for. Jared Verse, Laitu Latu would be really intriguing. Quinion Mitchell is another one, but how far do you have to go? And everything I just said is going to be negated by what I'm going to say now. Is there's a window. They have like a 91 pick window between pick 73 and 164 where they don't have a pick. And if you're Brad Holmes, or at least a fan of Brad Holmes's work, you want him to have more picks, whether there's third rounders or whatever they are. So the only way to accumulate more picks in that window is to trade down. I don't know which way they're going to go or even stay there, but I would think that it would be much more reasonable to think about a trade down scenario than a trade up scenario. I think they've been linked a lot to Darius Robinson from Missouri. I would understand it, but I wouldn't love that pick. But they're also in a spot where, it's pick 29. So it's not like taking Hutchinson second overall and thinking, okay, that's the greatest pick. Pick right. 29, it's late. So there's 28 players that are going to go before them. So there's going to be things to pick apart with whoever they take at 29. Maybe it's a receiver, and maybe I'll be surprised because you could take a receiver at 29 and get a really good player in this class. That's kind of where I hope they go, but that I'm not necessarily expecting that either. So,
well, I'll ask you before we get to the fellas here, just to react, because we're going to break this down later and kind of give our thoughts on it. But Mel Kiper, Field Yates, they had I think it was 100 pick mock where they alternated picks. And I don't know who selected these players, but I do know the first 3 picks for the Lions. And I'll just give you all 3 of them, and you can kind of give your thoughts on each player. How would you feel if this was the draft, the first 100 picks? At 29, one of them have the Lions taking Darius Robinson. At 61, they have the Lions taking Javon Bullard, safety from Georgia. And then at 73, they have the Lions taking Bub Means, wide receiver from Pittsburgh. So Darius Robinson, Javon Bullard, Bub Means. That's their first 3 draft selections. How would you feel, Scott, if those were the selections?
I would not love the Bub Means picking at that early in round 3. Bullard's a good football player. It's just safety. We talked about this maybe a month ago. The safety position isn't necessarily a void. They have players there. I suppose if you do that, that allows you to weaponize maybe Brian Branch a little more than they were able to in year 1, which is good. That's a good thing. But there's a variety of ways in doing that. Robinson's fine. I think that some people have compared him to Cam Jordan from the New Orleans Saints. It's a rich comparison, but from a play strength, physical stature component, yeah, he looks like that. That's sort of his makeup. But I think he's significantly better as a 5-tech sort of closer to the ball defensive player than a player who's going to have success outside the tackle outside shoulder. I just don't know that he looks like a player who's going to win that way. But if you're asking him to be very physical and just kind of chew stuff up inside like that, yeah, that's fine. But Josh Pascal kind of does that for you already. He's a little bit richer version, but not much of Pascal. So the Lions liked Pascal enough 2 years ago to make him a pretty early pick, and doubling down on a player like that with pick 29 would seem to me a touch confusing unless they had other plans for him. I'm kind of lost as to what those other plans would be. I don't know that he's got the quickness and bend and flexibility to win as a traditional DN. So I do think he is more, he would be like a John Kaminsky replacement kind of thing, where Kaminsky's never going to win outside, but there are moments, especially 2 years ago, he was very disruptive, closer to the ball. Robinson's like that, where, I suppose if you played a 5-man front and he did play as a 5, or at moments if you played with a true nose and as a 4-eye or as a 5, that's fine. But to me, and I could be completely missing the boat. So, that happens every 12 or 13 minutes. I could be missing the boat on Robinson. They might have different plans for him. They might deploy him differently. I just don't know where, he's either, a 4-eye or a 5 technique. Sometimes maybe a little more, sometimes as a 3, because he's 280 plus pounds. So I think he could live there. I just don't know how disruptive he's going to be. And I don't know, how you would settle for, a kind of like, okay, that's cool. He's physical. He fits their culture, all that stuff. That's cool. He is all that stuff. It would be kind of a borderline. You've already got that guy in house in Pascal. And I wouldn't totally love it, but I wouldn't hate it either. I think there's worse players that have been mocked to the Lions at 29 than him. He's a good football player. He's a very physical guy. He's got all that stuff. So, yeah.
What's up,
Scott? Want to throw this out there too, because I think another position that at least a lot of Lions fans feel like there's a need for is this corner position, especially with the Cam Sutton stuff. And I know we've already talked about it with you a bunch about different guys. To me, though, it feels like the front half of this draft, with the Quinyon Mitchells, Terrion Arnold, like there's a couple elite corners. If they don't trade up and get a corner or say even like an edge, do you see obviously, I know you said the trading back might be more realistic. Do you see them train back, say, hey, let's just trade back, get one of these like corners? Is there any value even to doing that though, with the kind of this corner class, or where do you kind of see them going in that direction to kind of fill that void here for the Lions?
It's a great question. So I think, I don't know that we've talked about this particular player, and I think I can feel the eyes, not you guys, but people watching, the eyes rolling when I mention his name. Mike Sainristil from Michigan.
I love that.
He is a dude. I mean, he just is. And I'm such a hypocrite. I just bitched about what Robinson would be and how it would be redundant with a player that they already have. Sainristil would be redundant with Brian Branch. Mm-hmm. It's like there's a lot of redundancy there, but it's really not a bad thing to replicate a phenomenal football player on your defense. I just don't think it is. So I don't love I don't the Kool-Aid McKinstry stuff. He's fine, but I just don't know how physical he is. And I would worry about some of that stuff with him. If the Lions at pick 29 stay put, don't make a move, take a guy like Mike Sainristil and come out to the podium. And I can already see the videos of Campbell and Brad Holmes going nuts. Can't believe we got this guy. Yeah. He is exactly the kind of player that the Lions love. He's versatile. He can do a variety of things. He would be a nickel corner. He's not necessarily an outside corner, but then you absolutely are freeing up Brian Branch to be kind of like a chess piece sort of weapon in that defense. And you're doing it by adding one of the best pure football players in the class who just happens to be small. But from a football intelligence standpoint, from a play style, all that stuff, he's a dude. He's a fantastic football player. I just, in a trade back scenario, I don't know how far, it'd be great to move back 6 or 7 spots and then take him. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Because you're getting something to do that. Maybe it's a 3rd round pick, something.
Yeah.
But it might be, a little rich at 29 to take him. But the point is that, you just draft good football players. And that's kind of where the Lions have been for the last 3 years.
Scott, you and I align. If there was going to be a position that we wanted to take at 29 for the Detroit Lions, you and I both think it's wide receiver. But if you had to pick the 3 wide receivers that fit what Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions, do the most and would actually have an impact in year 1, even year 2 and year 3, who do you think those wide receivers in this class would be?
He's looking for Xavier Legette. I already know.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, he wants one answer only.
Legette would be, it's Ladd McConkey for sure. But so to me, it's driven by what Jared Goff demands from the receiver position, and that means reliability, trust, and getting to your landmarks and getting to exactly where you're supposed to be at the right time. Because all this stuff is designed to be, we're in shotgun, and on my 3rd step, I want to throw the ball, which means you have to absolutely be where you're supposed to be. And if you're not, then I'm not throwing it there, and that's where stuff breaks down. So there's an element of trust that these route runners need to operate at for Jared Goff to feel comfortable getting the ball to them. To me, that's Ricky Pearsall from Florida, who gives you a lot more than just, route running polish. He can do a lot. He is an exciting player that nobody really talks about. And I don't understand it. He's a really good football player from Florida, Ricky Pearsall from Florida. Ladd McConkey would be the same kind of thing. Outside, inside versatility, a little bit of redundancy with Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I don't know how that's a problem. And just the route running chops and the athleticism that is very obvious with him. And Legette's an interesting one because the Lions haven't necessarily done a lot of like bubble screens or jet sweeps or that kind of stuff where, they do a lot of pushing the ball down the field to short throwing stuff. But with him, you'd have to generate some creativity with getting him involved. But, there's that his vertical's crazy. Watching him play is fun. It's almost like he floats with the ball in the air down the field, So it would be those three, I think, at 29 or even a little bit later, where I would think there should be a lot of excitement behind that kind of player. It's just, at 29, I don't think Ricky Pearsall is an option at 29. I think that'd be more of a trade down scenario, but he's a really good football player. I do think Leggett and McConkey are, though. I mean, I'll just ask you a question. If Ladd McConkey ends up with the Kansas City Chiefs, what do we think about Ladd McConkey going forward?
That's what I've been saying with all these wide receivers. Like, you could be mad if a lot of Lions fans, I feel like if they take wide receiver at 29, they're going to be like, we already have wide receivers. Our offense isn't any problems. But then you're like, okay, but how would you feel about this player if Patrick Mahomes is throwing him the ball, if Lamar Jackson is throwing him the ball? And I think that reshapes everything when you talk about the corners, what you're saying about Darius Robinson. In reality, he's a solid player, but I don't ever think he's going to be a guy that gets you 10, 11 sacks. And if you're picking in the first round, that's what you would prefer for those players to be. But wide receivers, I think there's numerous guys that could be wide receiver ones in this league, but he'd be playing a wide receiver 2 type of situation.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It does feel like, too, and real quick to Scott's point, it's like I did a bunch of mock drafts the last couple of days for Mock Draft Monday today, and like it felt like every time I would like get to 29, there wasn't really there's not a bunch of, it's such a weird spot to be in at 29, but like even these receivers, like I kept trading back and I just kept trying different trade back scenarios to like 36, 38, 42. And a lot of those players like Mike Sainristil or, if you could trade a couple spots back, still get a Ladd McConkey. And like you could trade back, add assets to Scott's point and still go out there and get these exact same guys you probably would snag at 29 and you add another pick in the top 100 picks. Like it just makes a lot more sense to me. And that's why I think Scott's spot on with that.
I mean, they could surprise us all and take a guard at 29 and all this stuff is moved, right? But I mean, that's the beauty of what they've done is they've set themselves up to take what they view as the best available football player that falls to them. Last year's draft was strange because none of us would have ever saw either of those players being paired with Detroit. So just trying to step out of all right, everybody's talking about Darius Robinson and Kool-Aid McKinstry and, some of these other Zach Frazier and all these other players. But what if the Lions do surprise you and take a guy like Sainristil and jump to the podium and say, hey, this is the best football player that we thought, in the 10 picks that went in front of us, we think he's a better football player than all those guys. Okay, I'm with you. Cool. So just trying to think about things in a different way than the traditional, this is what the mock drafts look like when we know that a lot of that's driven by, rankings and that kind of stuff, which aren't necessarily NFL kind of rankings.
And I know, Scott, we fall into this narrative every single year where we do these mocks and it almost to a fault where we always rely on need. And then you get to the draft. And to your point, I'm so glad you brought up the Sainristil point and then you watch the draft. And I think that's why people mentally are already trained to draft on need. And then Brad goes BPA. And now half the Lions fan base is upset. I don't know how it'll be this year. Maybe people are more acclimated to it. But
no, they're all going to be pissed. People,
it's an annual thing, Scott. You know all about it.
Yeah.
Lucas brought up a while ago too. Sanders still going in the first round. Like he had him in the Packers, just like as an exercise we were doing. And the more he said that, the more I thought about it. You're so spot on. You could argue that Sainristil is the best player at 29. You could. And even though the fit is there,
you could very easily argue that he is the best player at 29, but that he also unlocks Brian Branch too. So the idea of improving two positions with one pick is always a really good thing. It's like, when you draft tackle, it's better for your quarterback. When you draft edge, it's better for the corners. They don't have to cover as long. When you draft an elite corner, it's better for your pass rushers. So there's a little correlation that goes with what you're doing. And, I think that while Sainristil is small, I would argue to show me where he plays small.
He plays big. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he tackles, he hits. He's super smart. He helps get that defense lined up. There's just so much to like about his game, but I would love it because I think he's a great football player, but I'm sure that there would be a lot of pissed off Lions fans that night until, just like the Gibbs thing, until they saw him in week 1 and he looks the way he looks. And it's like, okay, we fully get it. Totally understand it.
And then it's all over. Yeah, that's how it always works. Scott, before Booner goes here, I want to ask you too that with the edge depth, we again going back to when we do these mocks. On my latest mock draft I posted here on our channel, I had the Lions trading up beginning Latu. And we're big fans of him and what he can be. And I think if he didn't have the question marks about his neck injury, it's a big if. I understand that the neck injury, he would be, I think, the first or second drafted defensive lineman first off the board, either Dallas Turner or him. I think you can make that argument. But then we tend to do this thing where it's like, okay, if they don't trade up, who's going to be there at 29? Jared Verse, Latu will be gone. Do you like Darius Robinson? Maybe they go corner. Maybe you can address edge later in the draft. One thing we always talk about, and I would love to ask you this, just with the edge depth. I know Nealon met with the Lions. Where are you at with the kind of the depth in this draft? I know you spoke on it kind of before. But what kind of player is Nealon? I know Lucas brought up Adisa Isaac. We like him too.
Yeah.
Where are you at? Chop Robinson's flying up draft boards. What do you think about the edge depth in this draft? And if the Lions don't address it in the first round, do you think they could still get a guy with some potential there?
100. Yeah, they can for sure. That is so Chop. It's funny you bring him up. Chop is the one player I would be really bummed about if the Lions did draft him.
Oh, yeah. Russ said the same thing too. You guys are in lockstep.
Yeah, it's just that there's a lot of he's not good with his hands, and there's an element of I want to win with my first step and quickness, and as soon as a blocker engages with me, I'm cool. I don't fight through it. I'm not great with my hands. He doesn't play with a lot of power. Mm-hmm. I don't know that he's going to help you defend the run all that much. So to me, it's like I don't think he fits at all. When you think about grit and all that stuff with with what the Lions like their players to do, yeah, he's a finesse pass rusher and he does have an elite first step. But after that, it all just kind of washes away. And I just don't know if he's a fit. Right. So he may not even be a player that the Lions have that highly on their draft board. But as far as the class goes, I mean, there's good players in the class. It's not as good a class as it has been in years past. And I think that there will be better players, going forward than there are in this class. If you're not getting one of the premium guys, you're getting a player who's gonna be kind of a project. And I think this is where the Darius Robinson stuff is that the Lions need an edge. They do. He is likely to be available at the point in which they're drafting. So everybody just kind of forces that pick there.
Right.
Can you get him, a little bit later? Maybe not as big and physical as him, but you can get like Washington State has a guy named Brendan Jackson. He's good. He's a good football player. You mentioned Adisa Isaac. He's a good football player. I think he's a more complete player than Chop Robinson is. He just doesn't have that first step craziness that Robinson does. So, I think you can get an edge player a little bit later, or even survive the year with the Marcus Davenport signing and just hope that it works, right? So
don't say that.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of where they are. So
that's like my nightmare. We brought up like the reference, I was like with the Lions pass rush and this whole Brad Holmes thing with the draft. It's like you go to bed and you start having nightmares, nightmare, and you go to your mom so she can calm you down. It's like, oh, no, it's okay. We have Marcus Davenport. We have James Houston. And it's like, that's not helping you. Like, that's not making you go to bed.
It's not enough for sure. It's not.
Marcus
So they
Davenport.
They need more, right? But I mean, the Davenport thing is it should give you a bit of a clue as to the kind of player they're looking for. Super physical. Obviously, they love the idea that you're athletic enough to turn the corner and stuff, but you better handle your business in your gap too. Chop doesn't do that kind of stuff. So Isaac does. He's a physical player. It's interesting. The receiver thing too is there's a little bit of this. Like Brad Holmes and company have tried the linear fast guys for a while. They tried Tyrell Williams. They tried Brashad Perriman. They traded last year in kind of a non-trade for Denzel Mims. Josh Reynolds fits that mold of, the taller, faster player. Adonai Mitchell is that guy. Like he's.
I wanted to ask you about him. Yeah,
he might. It might be one of those things where he was productive at Georgia when he was at Georgia. He looked okay at times. I don't think he's remotely the route runner that the other players we talked about earlier are, but Holmes seems to have a little bit of a type, and it's the 6'3" guy who runs 4.4, who can occupy maybe demand that a safety sort of occupies that side of the field kind of stuff. So I think that Bub Means in that mock. He's a fast player, but I don't think he's remotely productive enough to be considered in round 3. Brennan Rice from USC, I think, is more of a match there than a player like Bub Means would be. But they do need a receiver. They do need a player who can step in and be wide receiver 3 to start. I think it's Amon-Ra and Jamison Williams and then Laporta and that kind of stuff. But developmental player who's fast, who can run routes and all those things. It's it's the cool thing about this draft, but also the hard thing to try to figure out is just that there's a few needs that they have, but it doesn't mean that that's where they're going to go at 29. They're going to take the best player that's there.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Scott, too, kind of looking outside the first 2 rounds, and I've seen a couple people ask this in the chat as well, and I think you've brought a couple guys up to us in the last couple of weeks having you on leading up to the draft, but some like sleeper guys for the Detroit Lions, especially like you look at last year, the first 2 rounds, probably couldn't pick, like we didn't know who they were going to go after, Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell, but those were names we all knew about. Are there guys outside of these first couple rounds to where you think might be those Dan Campbell guys, or maybe some new sleepers that you have found the last week since we've talked last?
I think we've talked about Mason McCormick from South Dakota State.
Yeah, great one too, by the way.
Yeah, he's a dude, right? So it's like he fits perfectly. But at a point, I think you could have taken him at pick 100. But I think as people have kind of gotten to see him a little bit, he's definitely a player who's now you would almost have to you'd have to take at 73, if not maybe even pick 61. Let's see. Texas State has an offensive tackle named Travis Glover. He's an intriguing developmental player. They need a swing tackle, big physical dude. I'm trying to think of some of the other players who Nebraska has a safety. His name's Omar Brown. He's a good football player, really good football player. Trying to think of it's hard with the later one. This draft is going to be really interesting as you get towards the middle of day 3, because with the COVID year and all that stuff, there's just not a lot of depth in this class. So I think you're going to take players who are going to help you on special teams. That's going to be their path to making this team. But you're looking at corners, safeties, linebackers, wide receivers who can block. Cornelius Johnson, I think, was a player we talked about last. Maybe not. I don't remember. He might fit. Kind of just from he's a Michigan guy. Those guys are all very physically mature players. They're smart football players. They've played in very important football games for a couple of years. Michigan's going to have a bunch of guys get drafted. And then I just think it's developmental offensive linemen. There's Dominic Dominic Puny from Kansas State.
Yes.
He's a really good football player. Delmar Glaze from Maryland. I think he's going to be a guard in the NFL, but a good football player who I think is a round 4 or round 5 type, where, if that's the guy that you pair with Colby Sorsdale from last year, you hope that one of them works, right? And can step in and play at points as a guard, that kind of stuff. There's other names, but it's tough to project the later ones. I just would expect it to be special teams positions, and then developmental players. It's interesting too, because the running back class is a lot better than people give it credit for. I don't necessarily think the Lions would be really in the market for a running back until day 3. But then there's going to be a bunch of players who are intriguing players. At the top of the not in round 1, but starting say mid round 2, there's a bunch of really good running backs who can do everything. But then you look at a guy like Ray Davis from Kentucky, who's like, I think he was one of 12 kids. He was homeless, or 11 kids, something like that. He was homeless for a while. He's been to 3 different schools. Really good football player who can run it, catch it, all that stuff. But I think as a day 3 running back, that's kind of where the Lions find value in that kind of stuff. Like these guys who have been through it and gotten through it. They've already shown you how they handle adversity. Those are the players that Brad Holmes seems to covet.
Gotcha. And Scott, we talked about Brian Branch and Mikey Sainristil earlier, but how do you think X and O's wise, how do you think that would fit? Because then you talk about Ife Melifuanu, you want to see what you got with him, and then Kirby Joseph. So how do you think they would schematically free Brian Branch to how you were talking about earlier?
So I think he would almost be a player who you would ask to be like a robber kind of position. Closer to the line of scrimmage, more blitzing, pass rushing, defending tight ends, staying inside the box, but reading things and just being in and around the ball, which is his strength as a player. Going back to Alabama, everything he did, especially in his last year there, when they asked him to just kind of hang out in the box and just sort of, be a player who's a pain in the ass and difficult to deal with. You would be doing that with him by freeing him from coverage responsibilities. I mean, he's still going to have his coverage roles, right? But there would be times when you'd bring him on blitzes because, if Sainristil has, say, the slot receiver on that side of the field, if the tight end's not there or if a running back's not running in a route, he can come after the quarterback kind of stuff. So I would just view it as almost freeing him up to be just an extra defender to just make plays. And sometimes that'll be in coverage. Sometimes that would be in run support. Sometimes that'll be coming off the edge when a quarterback might not see him. So there's so many ways and so much versatility in his skill set that freeing him up, definitely is a good thing. But it's not just him. It's you could also free up Sainristil too. Like, all right, Branch is going to cover the slot on this play, and Sainristil is going to do some blitzing or that kind of stuff. Like, because they're redundant in some of the things that they do really well, which are high football IQ things, understanding what offenses are trying to do, limiting what offenses can do. I just think that it's better to have more of those guys on the field than less. And, from a schematic standpoint, it would definitely be like the Bill Parcells robber type, where they've had success with those guys. Aaron Glenn had that, and in the defenses he played in, they had that kind of stuff too. So it's, it's just a thought. It's not necessarily, there's no perfect way to deploy any of those guys, but you definitely would have much more skill and playmaking and intelligence and understanding with Mike Sainristil as opposed to without him. So, not trying to sell that too hard, but he's a really good football player who, mitigated a lot of things as a defensive player. And we also have to remember that he's very early in his transition from receiver too. So he's just going to get better. He's just small, right? So That's a good question as to what they would do. I just would view it as them sort of untethering him from coverage responsibilities all the time and letting him just go make plays, which you'd really want.
Kind of like that Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah.
How they use. Okay.
And
Yeah,
Scott,
all over the place, all over the field.
And Scott, before we go, I got one more question for you, and I just want your opinion on this because the more I see it, obviously I'm not as dialed in as you are. Like, what's going on with the Jackson Powers Johnson stuff? I believe Mel had him out of the first round. Before he was pretty a consensus top 20 pick. Now he's kind of early second. I know that was someone that we early in the draft process as Lions fans were like, if you can get him, now it's like he might even just be there. What's going on with Jackson Powers Johnson? What changed? They haven't played football. Why is he falling? If he is. If you believe
so
he is.
Maybe we'll hear that there was an injury or something like that teams didn't love the healing on kind of stuff. I don't understand it either because like you said, the football stuff hasn't changed. I don't know if it's a position thing where I know he played center, but he's big enough. He's 6'5" and like 330 pounds. He can play guard, and I think he could be a very effective guard. I don't know. I don't have a great answer.
That's fine. I'm as confused as you are. I
mean, I'm not going to. I don't want to make up some stuff either. But I think that there's been some injuries that have been talked about, and then I think people worry about, or at least I've heard some discussion about how aggressive he is and having to be a little more patient with his hands. But he won. I think he was the Pac-12 player, offensive lineman of the year 2 years ago, and this year he won the Remington Award. He's a really good football player. I don't totally get it. I had always thought that Pittsburgh would be a really nice place for him to go because they seem to love their centers, right? Those big nasty centers. Philly needs one.
Right.
Kelsey just retired. They need somebody because right now I think it's Cam Jurgens who's going to slide over to center, and they have a hole at guard. I don't know that I totally believe him falling out. I don't buy he's going to fall out of round one stuff unless there's injury stuff that we're just unaware of, which is a possibility. I mean, if he does fall like a long way where you're getting into like, mid round two, it's definitely injury stuff because his film is good enough that he should go, be somewhere between picks 20 and 35 range. He's going to be an interesting one. I don't buy it totally that he's going to fall out of round one. Unless there is, like injury stuff that we're just unaware of.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff, Scott. We appreciate you. You can check Scott out. Like I said, it's on his Twitter, which I have the at there. You can check it out. Detroit Lions NFL draft analyst at DetroitLionsPodcast.com, staff writer at footballguys.com. Scott, we'll get you on next week before the draft. We'd love to hear you. Your thoughts on the players. All right. We'll catch you then, Scott.
Appreciate you, Scott.
We appreciate you for taking the time, man. It was big time.
Be well.
Thank you. And there you have it. Mr. Scott Bischoff. That Sainristil, I'll take, you know what? All that information, I'll take it because
I'm sold.
You're sold. Yeah, I am too. I mean, I don't know how you can't be with Mike Sainristil. That dude,
football player. That's just like it's Brian Branch. Just like position, I don't know. Football player. That is not a jag. He is not a jag. What's the difference of what's something else outside of a jag?
A dog.
What's like a guy? Something a guy.
It's just that's a jag. Well, you're asking for something similar or the opposite of that?
Something similar, but like 8 levels up.
Similar, but 8 levels.
You said something, but it's similar, but 8 levels up. So it's not similar.
Jad, just a dude instead of a guy.
But he's not just a dude. He's like he is a dude.
Then he's
an ad. He's an ad. He's an ad.
A dude. Yeah, he's an ad.
Yeah, he's an ad. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I was going to say,
we're working here, little fellas.
Jeff, let me ask you this, and it's not a shot. This is more of a thought exercise here.
Okay.
Would you rather, after hearing Scott say that about Mikey, would you prefer to have Mikey or Kool-Aid at 29?
That's a great question. Can I throw something out there for Jeff?
Yeah, I would be cool with Kool-Aid. Or excuse me, Mikey.
But if you're gonna take Mikey, trade back and get assets. That's the only thing I ask. Because
I don't know if he'll be there though.
He will, dude. I did a million, and I know
you got, Boone.
I know mock drafts aren't
Baltimore,
like.
bro, if
end
he's
of
there for
the-
Baltimore, Baltimore's gonna be
I don't think so. I'm
barbecue
telling you
chicken.
guys, like I have a feeling, and maybe I'm wrong, but I did a million. Like today, I was just going through doing mock drafts, trying to get different scenarios. Mikey was there at like after 35 every time. If you could,
Yeah,
if there's gonna be a guy like Kool-Aid, or even if you want Darius Robinson, who's been on a bunch of visits and got a lot of people love. Like there's gonna be some players, Lad McConkey, that a team in the 30 to 37 range is gonna sit there and go, we need to move up to get this guy before he gets taken. And they'll give up a third round. They'll give up an extra top 100 pick to go up and go, yep, we'll take him. And then you could sit there and go, all right, please, Mike. It's literally like those videos that you see of Brad and Dan, like when they traded back for JMO, they didn't know if JMO was going to be there, or they might have actually waited until he was available, but they're sitting there like, please be there. Please fall. Please fall. Saints take Chris Olave. Let's go. We got our guy. Trade back. Let's get the deal done. It might be like that for Mikey, to where they're like, all right, are we going to take the risk? Because as a GM, you have to take that risk. If you want to give yourself some more ammo, take a risk. Move back a couple spots, like especially at 29 when you're sitting there and there's a lot of guys who might be able to fall down to 35, 38, 40. And you're like, can we get some assets of a team behind us? Because they're all talking. They know. If they're trading with someone, they're going to say, hey, who are you trading? Like, what player do you want if you move up? Are you going to take our guy? Because we're trading back for a certain guy. If you can guarantee us you're not taking our guy, we'll do it. All right. You see what I'm saying?
Hey,
I do.
That's the mind of my. That's the mind of Booner.
We can throw a gentleman's bet on it, Booner. There's no way that Mikey Sainristil makes it out of the first round. There's no way.
See, this is, all right. Let's say top 30.
He might even go before 29, and I'll be consistent.
All right,
on
let's
that
do 20. Let's do this. Let's do this. Can we make a deal? Let's do
Yeah.
over under 28 and a half.
No,
You
I would
said he thinks he'll be gone before 29. He thinks he could be gone
he'll
before
be
29.
in the first round, Boone. You think there's a chance there?
I think there's no. I agree. I think there's a chance, but if you're sitting there and you're thinking about it, like Brad, make those calls. Do you think he's going to fall? Call some of the teams behind you. Hey, who are you looking at? What are you looking to do?
Well, they're not going to say who they're looking at. They're not.
No,
be
but
like,
you make those calls and you have an idea. Like you're not going to just trade back if you're like he's not going to be there at all. But if you have a feeling.
Even when the second round kicks off and you're looking at Chicago, you're looking at Carolina, you're looking at New England, there's no way they're passing up on Mikey.
I see that's where you
Even
know
if-
me, I'm
even if he
a
goes
Mikey
outside
guy.
But like Chicago,
let's do 28
they
and a
just
half.
lost
Let's
Eddie
shake on it right
Jackson.
now. Do you want to
If
shake
you
on
lose
that?
Eddie, what?
Over or under 28 and a half. You have under.
You just lowered it.
I think it
I
should
said
be
20 and a half
32
for
and
the
a
jump.
half.
I
It should be
said 20 and a
32
half for
and
the
a half.
jump.
It should
No,
be
I'm not
32
doing
and a
that.
half because that's a
I think
first
there's
round.
a chance. I think there's a chance he goes in the first round. But you said you think there's a chance he goes before 29. If you think
said
that,
he said
deal.
first
But
round.
I'm way more confident in first round. But I think
He
there's
said
I
first
think-
round.
there's like two or
I think
three
there's a
teams.
chance. Yeah, no, I'm not going to make that bet because I do think there's a chance he's a first round pick. He's
That's
not
what I'm saying,
going
like, if
before
you
29.
I don't
though.
think you can trade back and get Mikey.
Zero chance he's going before 29.
I disagree with that.
Then let's make that bet.
Zero
That's
is
the bet.
aggressive.
That's make the
What
bet.
are the odds in my favor in the Booner Sports book?
Dude, I don't know. I'll
It's got
get
to
you
be plus
two.
something.
Zero.
Plus 200.
Booner,
I'll give you 2 to 1.
zero.
I'll give you 2 to 1.
So what's
I'll
the,
give
so
you
what's
2
that?
to 1 odds.
Okay, so we'll put 10 on it.
All right, so I'll pay you 20 if he goes under
Yeah,
29.
and I'll pay you 10.
And you pay me 10. Or you know what we'll do? We'll do lunch or something. I'll get you one lunch if
Okay,
he goes
fair,
over 28
We'll
and a
do that.
half, and I'll get you 2 lunches if he goes under.
Fair.
Well, this is guys. I would have fell victim to this if you.
That was
asked
legal
me,
gambling.
If you asked me, Jeff, is Jahmyr Gibbs
I'm
going in the first round?
cheaper.
I've been like, hell no, no.
I think there's a
But
chance.
now,
but I don't think
I've grown. I've grown. Now I'm
I've
like,
grown.
okay, now I don't believe anything. Jack Campbell, I would have been like, no. Are you? No, he's not.
The Cardinals would love Mikey Sainristil.
Klotz.
They would love him.
Yes,
And they also probably would love a lot of other players.
They would, but if they take a wide receiver in round 1, or if they take Marvin, why not add? If they took Marvin and Mikey, you are walking out of that first round probably with the best draft.
By the
depending on
way, I want to
Chicago
throw
does
this
not.
out there for the people too, real quick, and for the guys on the show. Gentry's off the show, obviously, right now because of the Red Wings.
Red Wings are in a nail biter.
They were down
so
4-2, and I just looked at it. It's 4-3 now with 6 minutes to go, and they need. I could be wrong. If they lose, they may be eliminated. And if anyone in the chat can help me out with that, but I think they at least need 1 point, so like overtime to stay alive. I could be wrong, but I think that's the case, especially because some of the other teams I believe are winning right now.
Go to OT.
So you need something to stay alive here.
Yeah, I think Gentry. We need a mental health checkup on him. I don't.
We'll give
I
him a
don't
ring
know
in a
the
little bit.
status. I don't know if he has a pulse. I don't really know. So you know what? We're gonna hopefully he joins the show here. He's just. I get it though. It's a nail biter. I understand.
He's watching the Wings game with Nirvana playing in the background for sure. Just some Kurt Cobain.
Yeah,
He's just going through it.
What a legend.
Before we move house.
Oh my.
Bro, hey, we got. Oh my God. Shot. We got a couple more than
we got. Coachwalk.
The goat, man. He always fucking does this.
Every
we
time,
don't. We don't
man.
deserve
He's a
Coachwalk. We
He's
got
a
a couple
legend.
other ones that we missed too after this, Jeff.
Do you want me to read it? Or do you want to
Shout
read it, Jeff?
You read it, Boone. I'm speechless.
Shout out, Coach Walk, man. He said you boys are doing great for what it's worth. I'll always support you. Remember, when building a business, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Just keep grinding. Stop listening to negativity. Focus on the positives. And I didn't want to send this when Mike was on. I don't know. I was reading it, and I was reading it, and I was like, "What?" But no, now I get it. And shout out to him. That's why too. I think we're putting our head down and grinding for the last couple months, and us being tagged in those things the other day or yesterday or today, whatever it was. It was like we've had our head down, grind. Like let's grind. Let's build something special. Coach Walk, you're a part of that. We love you.
I don't know what to say, dude. I'm not to tear up right now. It's just wild. I mean, God.
Let it all out, Jeff. I know you've been waiting to cry for a while.
Dude, I would. You know, I'm not going to say that on live air. But I would. Coach, you need us to take care of anything. We'll take care of
anything you need.
Anything. This is okay. Coach Walk tunes in every single night. All right. Mm-hmm. He is always here.
Rich.
The man went out to dinner with his daughter and still joined when he got home. Like, he had every reason to be like, "Hey, fellas, I was out with my daughter," which is justified, and be like, "I'm not, he joined." Like, and it's Coach Walk. It's everybody else that tunes in daily, that listen, even during a time. Because we kind of started this thing, fellas, when the Super Bowl was, the NFC Championship game was happening, but it's not like we had a whole season to cover, and people still tune in.
Yes.
And that's why we love you guys, man. And that's why I think we kind of addressed at the beginning of the show, there is no beef. Like, it's nothing. Like, we're focused on what we're doing, and Coach Walk, his message is beautiful. He understands that. He's always understood that. He's been very honest, and he's aligned with our thinking. Everybody can be great, fellas. We can all be great. We want to be great.
And we're just getting started too. This is just the beginning too. Like, and from what's already happened a month or two in, I keep saying a month. I've said a month for like the last month, for like 2 months now.
Like 3.
Yeah, it's been like 3 months, maybe. I'm bad with days.
All right, Boone. You're locked in.
Dude, I live in my own little world, and I do my own little thing over here.
Yeah,
I love all the people though. Man of the people.
Yeah, everybody. Coach. Yeah, he's yeah. We're gonna, you know what? We're gonna get a studio. Coach is he's gonna open the key, like he's gonna do like the, how they trim the ribbon air. He's gonna trim the opening to the studio.
Do you know what I want to do as well for Coach Walk? I want to, you know how when you go to schools and stuff, like colleges, they name buildings or things after people. I want to get a water fountain, or something in our studio, and it's the Coach Walk water fountain or something like that, and have a nice little sign above it.
You gotta like one of the statues that when you're ever walking in and out of a building or a locker room, you have to touch as a
Coach Walk.
Go blue, like you're walking.
It's just Coach Walk sign.
That's what
be great every day.
Yeah, I'm getting the vein in the forehead. That's how you know it's just.
You know what we need to do, boys.
As long as it's in the forehead.
Whoa, where'd you took it there? The Booner path is consistent.
Grammar checked too. Right. Grammar checked.
I spell it right.
Yep, you did, Boone. Proud of you.
Coach said, I just hate the negativity that you guys get because of your success, Coach. We appreciate you.
Coach Walk.
And you guys help us keep it positive. We love it. It's good vibes every single night. It goes along. Even we got Bryant, who I do know. Bryant, I've DM'd with him before, and he just became a Clutch member. Bryant, your support too, man. We appreciate the hell out of it. Lions fan syndicate, thank you for the $2. Says, where is the St. Brown contract? We're looking for it. I can't find it.
That might have been
hopefully
earlier
before-
when we were talking the contract. That might have been
It
earlier.
was.
it was about 9 minutes ago. So he just donated. It was at 9:21. He's
Shout
just,
out
hey, we're
Lions
looking
fan
too.
syndicate.
Lions fan syndicate. We're looking. This one was during that segment, 501st Legion. Sorry we didn't get to this earlier. When stuff's going on, we'll eventually get to them all. He says, I feel like Jared Goff's extension happens when Amon-Ra St. Brown's contract extension happens. Same way with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans' package deal. Could be, certainly. Who knows? But thank you for the appreciation from all of you. Yeah, I mean, guys, who cares? It's 9:30. My brain is just now empty. Coachwalk shook me up, so we appreciate you. But he laughed. He liked the water fountain. He liked the water fountain.
Do you guys want to see my mock draft from today?
Yeah, I actually have it. So let's pull it up, Boone. You did a realistic mock. You did a realistic.
Can I explain to the people?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I went about it. I put my Brad Holmes hat on. Brad Holmes, the last couple of years, he's traded up in the first round. In the second, third round, he's traded up as well to go get Brian Branch. Like, he's constantly making moves. And I think the way, fellas, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the way he looks at it is he does have that big board of his that he loves, of guys that he loves, and he doesn't care about anything else. And he goes, how do I get those top guys? And he makes trades to get them. He moves up, he moves back, and he makes sure he gets the top guys he loves. So I went into this mock draft today and I went, I have these guys that I want on my team. These are the guys I want. How can I go get all of these dudes? And that's what I did in this mock draft. I traded twice. I literally did probably what Brad Holmes has done the last 2 years. I traded up in the first round. I traded up in the second. I made trades to make sure I got the dudes that I want in my lot on Booner's list, on my list.
So is this the Booner big board? Like, if you were to have the dream draft, this is part of it?
It's close to it. There was a couple that ended up getting drafted that I was like a pick or two before me that I missed out on. But this is very close to where if this happens, I think I would be fine with it.
All right, let's check it out, Boone. Here's your
boys.
A lot going. Break it down, Boone. I'll let you.
All right, so first, let's just start from the beginning here. I left 29. I said I want to go get my guy. And you guys know this. Who have I been the biggest on? And I go positional need for the Detroit Lions, probably on the defensive end, edge, corner. All right, who are the best dudes at those positions?
He's our number one corner, Booner.
Our number one, me and you, Jeff, our number one corner is Quinyon Mitchell, and I think he ends up being the best. I think he ends up being the best corner in this draft. So I said I'm doing everything I can to trade up and go get him at 12. What I had to take away from this is I had to be like, all right, I'm not going to get an edge early. I'm going to have to sit there and I'm going to have to take a hit on edge. I know Adam says he hates Nealon. He said, Booner, stop putting Nealon in your mock drafts. I haven't put Nealon in a mock draft in weeks. I haven't done it in weeks. But when I traded up at 12, I had to give up something. I go, okay, I have to take an edge at 61. Marshawn Nealon's probably the best edge you're going to get at 61, in my opinion. Oh, I think the Wings just tied it, by the way.
Shout out.
You know what?
I could be wrong, but everyone's going Wings.
They tied it with a minute. It says minute 17. Don't know if that's official.
No, that is huge, boys. We need this game we need to get to OT. We need a point.
Yeah.
We need a point.
Go on.
That's
sorry.
unbelievable. So that's the thing with the Marshawn Nealon thing. It's like, hey, if you're gonna wait till 61 to get an edge, that's probably the best edge. That's probably the best edge available at 61. He's going. All of the teams in the NFL right now are bringing him in on visits. He's going everywhere right now. He's going to be in Detroit this week on a visit in Allen Park. So I'm going to sit there. I'm going to sit there and take Marshawn Nealon again. You guys see, I picked at 61 and 64. Correct? You guys see that almost back to back. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me shut this off. My phone's blowing up right now from the Wings. I need to mute my phone. I traded up. I saw Jalen Polk and Marshawn Nealon sitting there when I was at 61, and I go, okay, I have to make a move because I can't pick between the two. I want an edge and wide receiver, and I think Jalen Polk is one of the best that you can get in the second and third round. So I traded with the Kansas City Chiefs. Said I'm moving up. You guys, if you guys want more draft capital, here you go. You guys can get better draft capital. I'm coming up to get my guy, the one, the only Jalen Polk. One of the best. I think he's going to be he would fit perfectly on this team. You need a guy on the outside to go get a ball. Guess who was the best in the country at it last year? Jalen Polk. Jalen Polk was 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, he is a dude. So take him at 84. And then at 76, I had really no rhyme or reason about it. It was just, to me, it's best available player, like I'm looking at the board here, Mason McCormick. There was a couple other guys on the board. I probably could have gone best available and got a running back or a safety or another corner or another edge. I think Mason McCormick is an absolute dude. We've talked about him a lot on this show. I know I got a C+ for him, and that probably dropped my grade here on PFF. I really don't care what PFF thinks about my grade, but I'm all in though with the Mason McCormick thing. If you get him late in the draft, 3rd round, I'm fine with that. Add value to that offensive line. This is my at least the Marshawn Leland. I know that's not my favorite edge in the draft, but this is my thing. Like best available player at certain positions. I would leave this draft and be very, very happy. Very happy.
So I got to, okay.
You cook me. Come at me.
No,
please.
no. I actually am not. You know what? You should have had Scott review this because he would have freaked out at the Mason McCormick pick.
Yeah.
And we should have had Scott review. That would have been good. That would have actually been a good. But I will say, Booner, great draft. I don't hate. The only thing I'm starting to get to this point, and I get why you drafted Marshawn Nealon. I'm the last couple of weeks, I've been less and less of a Marshawn Nealon guy. Like he just doesn't move the needle for me. Not that I think it's a bad pick, because you're right. Like he's probably the best available edge. That's why I guess it goes back to why if it's not a Adisa Isaac in the 2nd, unless you have to trade up and get one in the 1st. That's just where I'm at. I just don't love it. I don't love it. But I love the draft. I mean, the draft as overall, Booner, like I thought you nailed it. You had the best corner, and to us, I know Lucas is a Terrion guy, but he would still agree top 2 corner, whatever you think. You get Mason McCormick, offensive line depth, wide receiver. You get an edge. I'm just not sold on Marshawn Nealon.
As soon as you think Marshawn Nealon's not a good guy, guess what? That's a Dan Campbell guy. That's a Brad Holmes guy.
His grit.
Mm-hmm.
Watch you, Klotz. You like it?
I like it. I pretty much same thing. Not my flavor, Marshawn Nealon. Even it might be a little early to take. I would take Muhammad Kamara there. But hey, wow. I'm not gonna shred the draft. That's a very fine draft. I would say a very good draft. I'd be walking out of there a happy Detroit Lions fan, especially with Quinyon at 12. So Jalen Polk, like that, you know that. So I'm happy with the Boone. I'd give it a A-. A+ if you could maybe sneak in a Jonah Ellis or a Adisa Isaac instead of Nealon. But
Adisa Isaac was gone at that point.
Yeah, I figured you moved up. So
I would have gone Adisa Isaac.
You work in the Magic, Boone? I like it.
A lot of people are like, don't do trades in mock drafts. Well, guess what Brad Holmes does? He makes a million trades. Like, that is his game. That is what he does. So it's like, if we're going to break down Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions, that's our job. We're just like, imagine going through pre-draft and breaking these down as our job and not doing a PFF mock draft without, like, just always doing no trades. You just will never, like, you're never going to know what Brad's going to do at that point.
Real quick, I just wanted to look and see who scored that goal to tie the game up. That was Lucas Raymond.
He's been an absolute. He's been a demon, dude.
Yeah, that was Lucas Raymond, assisted by Perron and Gossosphere.
Gossosphere, yeah.
Yeah, so that and I just checked Lucas. I know we're changing the topic, but Lucas Raymond this season, dude's he's coming off a Hattie, by the way. But he's gonna get. I mean, he'll have 30 goals, 40 plus assists. I mean, he's got 70. I think he has around 70 points.
Yeah, I think he might have the second most. I believe.
Yeah, did they expect that going into the season, Boone?
I don't think they expected him to be like a star and kind of get to that point, but I think he was expected to be a dude. Pretty sure he was a high draft pick. I could be wrong with that. That's a Gentry question, but I'm pretty sure he was a higher draft pick, and eventually you would hope that he turns into that, and he's turned into something that's worth it. So that's good, especially when you have other guys like Larkin and DeBrincat and Patrick Kane, like Mo Sider. Like, you need young guys to develop and get better, and he's done that, which is huge. And he was drafted top 5. He was drafted 4th overall. I believe I have to look this up, but I believe it was 2020. But regardless, this year, he's having a great OT
season.
Boys. I've got it on. So I've got the boys here on my screen right here, and then I've got the game right there. It's OT, man. A win would be, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just want to see a happy Gentry.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to see him coming here upset.
I think we
No.
forget a little bit too. I do have that bet for them to make the playoffs, and I've been like absolutely
you got money
sweating over
on the
here,
line.
dude. I've had this bet since like September, and it's just sitting in my account, just waiting for it to hit. And it's been like the biggest roller coaster bet of my life, to be honest. And I've made a lot of bets.
Oh, it was a snipe by Lucas Raymond too. An absolute beauty. Like I can't play it, but go check oh my God, it was nasty. The goal too.
Playing with the K in his name.
Yeah.
Dog.
That was nasty, actually. I just saw it on pop up here on my Twitter. But boys, we got about 9 minutes left before we get to mailbag. I just want to react because we don't have to break it down. I mean, we kind of know some of the players, but I'll ask you if this was the Lions draft, how would you feel the first 100 picks, right? And I already asked Scott this. You kind of know where I'm going with the players, but I'll just put them on the screen. You give me a grade, all right, for Brad Holmes. I know we gotta. We always say, Brad Holmes gonna get his guys, but realistically, I'm just asking you from your opinion here. Look at this. All right, Lions Fan Report did a great job by just taking the picks out of Mel's article, putting them on Twitter. Thank you for that. He put out at Lions Fan Report, Mel Kiper and Field Yates did a 3-round mock today, and the Lions ended up with 29 Darius Robinson, 61 Javon Bullard, safety from Georgia, and 73 Bub Means, wide receiver from Pittsburgh. I don't know who selected these, but
the fuck is Bub Memes doing on the board here?
Yeah,
okay?
that's wrong.
That's where, because Javon Bullard, he plays fucking angry, man. Like, he's a dog. I don't know how you'd fit him in schematically because he's different than Mikey. Like, Mikey's a little bit more, you could put him in coverage. Javon's just your prototypical strong safety. So it'd be like one of those things we got to obviously just see how it goes. Darius, I wouldn't be mad at, but Bub Means, if that's a wide receiver you're walking out with in this class, I wouldn't be like, oh, Brad, what the fuck are you doing? You're a terrible GM. But I'd be like, this is what you're giving us. This guy right here. So, I mean, whatever it is, but it's just there's so many other options. Like, I'm sure Brendan Rice would be there,
to be honest, sounds like a Lukas Klotz type of guy. Feels like a Lukas Klotz type of guy.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Feels like I wonder who was available at 73 before they took him. I would like to see.
Even like Malachi Corley, bro. There's no way he's taken before 73.
I can check right now. I actually had it pulled up.
I would be happy with Malachi Corley. I'm with you there. I mean, Pittsburgh had a couple. I think they had different quarterbacks throughout the season. So like
Javon Baker went 80. I would rather have Javon Baker, I think.
Yeah, I don't know much about Bub Means. I love the name. I mean, that if Bub Means is tearing up, if he's catching touchdowns and he just absolutely tearing it up, it'd be kind of funny to cover. But I don't know much about Bub Means. I'm cool with wide receiver at 73. Maybe wrong player. Javon Bullard, although you look at safety and you're like, I actually don't mind Javon Bullard. I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, he's a good player.
Yeah, he is. I don't hate it.
Malachi Corley went 43 overall in this draft.
Did he really?
There was like, if I'm actually, now that I'm looking at it, there was like no wide receivers available. There wasn't a lot. Like there wasn't a ton. A lot of they drafted a lot of the receivers very, very early.
And he's an X. I mean, 6'2", 200 pounds. It's just.
So I think Javon Baker might be the better choice.
What?
Bub Means will be a Ram.
Where do you get these?
Ram. That's a Ram. Just they're wider. They got Puka. They got Tutu Atwell. Bub Memes sounds like it'd be put it right in there.
Can I throw some notes out to you, Klotzy, especially to you, Klotzy? Mohamed Kamara went in this draft. Guess where he went? This is like a
top
3-round,
which is impressive.
Yeah,
that's
so it's 100 rounds. He went
100 picks. 100 picks.
Round 60.
71.
Mm.
That's good though. That's good. That's good.
Watch him rise. Watch him rise. The cream always rises to the top.
Jeff, Kamari Lassiter. So the Lions picked at 61. I believe Kamari Lassiter went at 58.
Where'd Kool-Aid go?
Where did who?
Kool-Aid McKinstry go? I'm intrigued. I think did the wing.
You keep cutting out right when you say it.
Where did Kool-Aid McKinstry go?
Oh, Kool-Aid. Okay.
Yeah.
Every time you would say
Oh.
Kool-Aid, you would cut out. I think he
I
might
think
have.
the
Oh, I
Wings
think the
just
Wings won. Lucas Raymond, I think. Was it Lucas Raymond?
No, he didn't.
Dude, if it's Lucas Raymond, this guy is a legend.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it was Lucas Raymond.
No, it wasn't. That he's a
Lucas Raymond, what a dog.
this dude's a professional killer. That guy.
He's just an
He's
absolute
an
dog.
equalizer. Denzel Washington. He's slow.
Oh my
Hold the fuck
God.
up.
Nasty, like off the
That's
crossbar to tie it up. And I have to check. I don't have. I'm looking at ESPN,
Unbelievable.
like, oh yeah. Again, assisted by Dylan Larkin.
Just
scored
dogs
4
coming
minutes.
out when dogs need to come out. That's what it is.
Was it home tonight or away?
home game?
Lucas
Last
Raymond,
home game of the year.
home game. Lucas Raymond, 5 goals in the last 2 games. By the way, huge games. Absolutely
Oh my gosh.
huge games.
Really need the Caps to lose tonight. I think if they lose, I think
Holy shit, they have a star.
Wings-
I think they won. Someone said. I could
Oh,
be
the Caps
wrong, but
won 2-0. Oh, that's a disaster. You know what's going to happen now, fellas? It's going to come down to the Wings have to win tomorrow, and the Caps going to have to lose their last game, I think. So, like, we have to. That's tough. That's tough.
hey, Booner, where did Cortez want to know? Just because I'm interested too. Where did Edrin Cooper go?
Let me
Linebacker out of Mississippi State.
scroll a little here. I'm
He's gonna
scrolling.
be a
There's 100 picks here, fellas. Be patient with me.
Edrin Cooper.
Kool-Aid McKinstry went 30th overall to the Baltimore Ravens, so he was on the board.
All right.
I got to scroll. There's so many picks here, fellas.
He went to the
who did you want?
Ravens. He's a Raven for
Edrin
sure.
Cooper.
I'm scrolling.
He would fit well.
You guys could talk in the meantime while I scroll. I mean, you guys have to-
Okay, we'll just watch you scroll, Boone. I think that's more enjoyable.
Yeah,
he went
Booner-
50. He went 53 overall to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh, that'd be a dirty. That'd be a Howie Roseman pick.
Dark Flame just said they're still tied with Washington for the last playoff spot. Oh my.
Yeah, and I think
God.
I could be wrong. I think Washington has the. I
Yeah, they just-
believe Washington.
we were
has
on. I think we were live during that game. Too.
tiebreaker. Yeah, I think they have the tiebreaker. So
Oh God. Yeah, Lucas Raymond, 5 goals last 2 games, an absolute snipe. The game, or the goal to get in overtime, and I haven't seen the goal to win the game. I have to look at that. Which
I just posted it on our
You
Twitter.
did? Let me see this. Hold on. Man put the team on his back. Oh, it was basically, I mean, it was a 2-on-2, and he just got the angle on the guy in front of him. Hold on, I'm watching. I don't want to. I can't play it on stream. I wish I could. It would be copyright struck. Yeah, just an absolute, just an animal. And this goal's. Where's Gentry? He's probably fucked.
Yeah, we need Gentry on. We need to figure out this.
Now.
We need to figure out
he's
this
like
playoff scenario now.
Champagne, like in the locker room with the glasses. He's like with his son, him and Jax.
He's smoking a J, unwinding, coming back down to reality. Dude is just stressing for his fucking life. I bet he's fighting for his life. He has been. The last couple of games have just been nail biters. They look like they're about to get blown out, or they're about to blow the other team out, and then it's the opposite.
People in the chat are chiming in here. Tim, he says, Timothy says, Wings need to win tomorrow in a Caps loss. Detroit Dabber, Washington does have the tiebreaker. You are correct. IT Hips, no, they're 1 point back. Win tomorrow and Caps lose. We are in. Luckily, we'll be live, so can't wait for that. That'll be.
When do the Caps play? What did they say?
They play tomorrow.
They're
playing. They won. Yeah, they won today. They play tomorrow. They play the
Flyers. Philly.
For you. Yep, they play Philly tomorrow, 7:00. So we'll be live really when it's in the.
The bad thing about this, and I'm just going to be honest here because as a man of the people, this is what I did for the Booner Path. Is I was always just very honest. Today was the day for the Capitals to lose because they were going up against the Boston Bruins, one of the best teams in the league. So that was like, today was the day. I felt like, but tomorrow, hey, we're the biggest Philly fans tomorrow.
Yeah, and then
Philly.
Well, you have,
we're with you.
And then Detroit has to run it back with Montreal tomorrow on the road. So
yeah, travel day.
They're gonna. It's gonna be gritty. You know what they need?
Cap's got to travel to Philly too.
Hold on.
They're going
Booner?
from Washington to Philly. What?
Hear me out.
All right.
Dan Campbell.
Oh my gosh.
Send him.
I'm putting that out there right now.
Put it, please. Put it out
Wait,
there.
no, actually no, because it's a road game.
I don't give a shit. Send him out there. He's with the team. All right. He walks in the locker room. 2 cold ones. He says, boys, we need this one. We need this one, boys. We need
I
grit.
didn't come here for nothing.
I didn't travel to another country, technically, to give you guys
Got his
this
passport out.
for you guys not to win. All right? Come on, man. Let's be gritty, man. Let's get this win. Let's be better. Let's want it more. And when the clock hits 0, I want to see that effort all the way till 0. And he's going to clash the beers. It's going to be like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then they're going to go out, shut the team out. I don't know who's in net tomorrow. And the Wings are going to win 7-0.
7-0.
Yep. Get it
Dan
done.
Skipper's in the locker room after the game.
Yep. Dan Campbell goes to speak. The team chemistry goes up +10.
Instantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's an A+ teammate grade at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. Does plus 10 team chemistry, plus a couple at every attribute. They get a little bit more. That's what's going on. Let's have fun. Just like LFG said, let's have fun, man. Let's have fun. Let's go out
Do
there.
it, man.
Want it more. But we'll get to mailbag. Anything you guys want to talk about, feel free. Put it in the chat. We'll get to as many comments as possible.
Ask Booner why JJ McCarthy's going to be a bust.
You guys want to talk about JJ again real quick? I did see something, a little snippet of Ian Rappaport talking today, I believe, that said JJ McCarthy had a good dinner last night with the New England Patriots at number 3, which I would hate for him to go to the Patriots, by the way. But he also met with all of them today, and he is also going to be meeting with Washington. He's going to meet with all these top teams. And the terms and words that I heard was JJ is just as much in the mix to be a top pick as any of those other quarterbacks outside of Caleb Williams. So
Drastic
that's
mistake.
just I saw that. I just with my eyes I saw that, or I heard it. So I just want to throw that out there. So we'll throw it out
Wrong.
No, it's definitely cute. I don't know.
That word is just
I'm
unbelievable. Let's end that.
No, I'm
real
kidding.
quick.
I'm kidding.
I was at work today, Boone, and there was a guy. I work at a shop, and there's this guy who's pulling in there, got a big F-150, and I pull his truck in there, and I'm like, what the hell has he got hanging from his keychain? Bro, this grown-ass man had a JJ McCarthy keychain, a picture of JJ holding up the national champion. Grown-ass men have JJ McCarthy on their keychains. I don't want to hear it, not from you. I mean, you do say it a lot, but all this JJ McCarthy hate, people just hate him to hate him. I don't understand like the glazing that goes on with this man.
I mean, dude, why don't you just let people like what they like? Let's stop complaining.
I'm just saying they can like JJ, but there's grown ass.
Why don't we stop?
Men
Okay, says the Louis Riddick glazer.
Louis Riddick knows ball. He's a proven
okay, but you still glaze him. It's the same thing.
Ball.
Just a different person. It's the same thing, just a different person.
No. The different.
No. Let's take a step back here, real quick. Come on.
If you were to have like a Mount Rushmore of sports analysts right now, Louis Riddick would be on there. If you were to have a Mount Rushmore quarterback,
Mount Rushmore is all time. Mount Rushmore isn't just right now. We're talking all time.
But if right now, if you were to do it, it'd be him. It'd be Joe Klatt. There's a couple of them you could throw up there.
It's unbelievable, Jeff.
Joe Klatt does. He likes.
Don't take shots at Louis Riddick. That you don't have the ammo.
Shots at Louis
you don't
Riddick.
have the ammo. You
love him. You just went at someone for loving JJ McCarthy.
I would never have a Louis Riddick keychain.
If I bought you one for your birthday, if I bought you one for your birthday, you would have it on your keychain for sure. You know that for a fact.
Maybe, but I wouldn't buy one. Maybe he
got it as a gift. How do you know? How do you know he didn't get that as a Christmas gift from his significant?
I don't. But all I need to know is that there's grown. I'm not 35. Okay.
I'm gonna get him a Louis Riddick chain. I'm for sure getting you one.
Please do.
Exactly. I mean, that's my point. Like, here we go.
He's like I said, proven product. Put him on a Mount Rushmore. Jake Coker had better stats in a national championship.
It's mailbag. Do we have any mailbag questions? Mailbag, Jeff.
Jake Coker, baby.
Blazing. No, I'm just kidding. Revive graphics. Shout out Roman, man. Oh. Hey, by the way, you guys see the cover art, the background on all our socials?
It's great, dude.
Roman was in his bag. And Roman, by the way, he's not real. He's an AI, so we've established that. So that's out the way. But he sends me designs of I can't wait. Post draft, we're gonna get everything working out. I can't wait. He's cooking. He's been cooking. It's different. So shout out to Roman. We appreciate him. Like, I can't just say that. Like,
the man just like donates art, digital art for us. It's a simple way to put it.
Mm-hmm. That's how it works. Eduardo O'Neill, Mailbag, if you could only draft one player in this draft, who would you want on the team? Not for need, but your best player you want. No Caleb, Jeff. Well, that's messed up. I mean,
Maserati Marv. Could you imagine Marvin Harrison on this offense, boys?
Be dirty.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah. Jeff's gonna say Kool-Aid.
No,
Could you imagine Kool-Aid in the secondary?
No, I'm not. I would say it's a tough one. I'm between Quinyon Mitchell and Dallas Turner. I'd go Dallas Turner.
I almost, in my head, I almost said Dallas Turner because I would love a great edge with Hutch, and Dallas Turner is probably the best edge in this class. So I would have to be like, if we're looking at our team, an edge, and you add Dallas Turner with Hutch, scary.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, pass on the first ballot Hall of Famer. That's fine.
Yeah. See, we fall back into fit. That's the problem. ETN Mailbag thoughts on UFC 300. We watched it, fellas.
Can I do a little bold take? Guys, I thought it was disappointing. Underwhelming. I think the Max Holloway one was the best fight, and that was the third.
Did you watch Alex Pereira? And
I was saying I was half asleep. That woke me up right away.
The thing was with Alex Pereira, like I just wanted it to be like a good fight, and it just ended like that. Like it was sweet, like the way, but like I wanted like a fight, and it just was like boom, done. The Max Holloway fight was the third to last fight, and that was like the most electric fight of the night.
I said it in beat-ups. Pereira is like a soldier of God. Like he is like he comes out there, stone hands.
But Jeff, you can't tell me we have watched a lot of UFC together the last like year.
Yeah.
I think there's been times where we've gone to like a restaurant and we've seen a better card and we've been like, the whole time.
Card,
So that's where I'm more so like UFC 300. I was hoping that every fight was going to be like bang, 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 bang. And we were going to be like, and there was good one again. Yeah, no, there were good ones. It was just more so like we've gone and watched a lot of UFC, all of us as a crew together. We've had better nights watching UFC together. I'll say that. And
we've
this was
seen
300.
some good cards, like definitely.
Exactly.
I think the best one was the first time we went, or at least the first time that Booner watched Volk, and Volk, I forget who he was fighting.
That was Ilya when he got completely just shut off.
I think I made a bunch of money.
And I told you about Ilya. I tried.
No, I think Volk won.
Oh, it might have been a prior one then. That wasn't Ilya.
Because the Land Down Under was playing, and Booner got hype.
But the Land Down Under. All right, I'm not going to get into that. No, and ETN is right. The Holloway fight did make up for a lot of the average stuff. It was just more so like full card. It was we've definitely been and watched. And me as like an average UFC fan, just go with the boys. It's more so just I like those long cards to where like every fight the boys are in it. We're like, let's go, fellas. Here we go.
Oh, that was Yair Alexander.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, not Alexander. Yair Rodriguez. I thought it Alexander Volk. Yeah.
Like Sean O'Malley, he should have been on 300. That would have been electric. Sean O'Malley on 300.
Yeah, but
we watched this fight a couple weeks ago, and he was great.
St. Patrick's Day.
It was great. I think that might have been
Patty's Day.
I had more fun watching that, I think, than this.
But
actually, I'm wrong. Actually, I fell asleep for that. I fell asleep for that.
299 was good. That was that the last card we saw, which was what? That was that Sean Dustin Poirier. That card was stacked. We watched that. That was when we ate the croissants.
I fell asleep.
We watched you. Oh yeah, that's when Booner was. Well,
I was like half awake, half up. I just sitting there. Don't touch my croissants.
Yeah, the tacos,
bro had a plate full of food, fell asleep. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna take his food. He's not gonna.
Every time someone went by my food, I woke up. Whoa, don't touch my food.
Got mad and then didn't even eat it. And then you went to bed and you're like, do you want my tacos? Yeah, I'll take it, Boone.
I was up for like half of the Sean O'Malley fight. I was like in and out.
He was like, oh, that was when we went to. That was St. Patty's Day.
Yeah. I mean, the bar crawl. We like 10 a.m. all the way on. Or not 10 a.m.
Or the St. Patty's Day weekend.
I mean, dude, the fight was like 2 a.m. and we were
those get brutal sometimes.
The bar crawl starts at what? 1. I mean, that's just 12 straight hours of going. I mean, I'm old.
Yeah. It was unreal.
I'm not in my prime anymore, man. I'm LeBron out of the prime.
How old are you, Boone? What are you talking like at 35?
27, dude. How old are you
You're in
guys?
your prime.
How old are you guys?
We're all in our prime.
Still in your prime.
You guys are way younger than me. You're in your prime. I'm not.
You're still in the prime. 30 is the cutoff. And even so, if you're in good shape in 30.
30s you can get. Look at GOAT. He's fine at 39.
Who? LeBron?
No, GOAT. Sorry. I just thought you should just get what I'm saying. It's just GOAT. That's just what we call him. But we'll get out of here. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Great show. Appreciate Scott. Appreciate all you guys, man. Coachwalk, all the people, Bryant, so on and so forth. I'll just name them off. 501st Legion, Lions Fan Syndicate, all you guys in the chat, ETN, Gary, John, Tyler, everybody for showing support, LFG, Eduardo, even Adam's in there, DCP. We appreciate you guys, man, for the consistent support. Dante151. We do. Thank you. It was a fun show. And by the way, tomorrow we'll be back with some Red Wing stuff because, hey, it's getting interesting. And Gentry will be joining us. We can't wait for it. We'll break it down. But until tomorrow, fellas, love you guys. Love you guys.
Peace.
Chat, we love you too. We'll catch you. Have a good one. Stay blessed.
Peace.
Deuces.